Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Good evening and welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you very much for tuning us on in as Tom King will be our guest tonight on the show. Weird thing happened earlier today. We booked a guest, an author through a publishing company, said this guy wants to talk about UFOs and the ties to the Bible, everything like that. Well, the guy messages me today and says, I don't know anything about UFOs. I don't believe in UFOs. But if you want to talk Christianity, I can give you a sermon on that. And said no. Then his publisher calls me and says, yeah, he's flying home from London. I don't think he's going to be able to make the show. And I went, no, let's just not do this. So Tom graciously jumped in. So that's why we got a fantastic, I think an even 10 times better show tonight. Kitty Caddywhack in the gold medal position, T-Bone in the silver, Race Fan taking home a bronze medal, Road Flare, Michael Morris, Mel WD-40. How you doing? Mel WD-40 is lubing us up for tonight's show because you can't talk to Tom King unless you're nice and lubed. Tom will not appear unless we are lubed up. So thank you, Mel, for lubing up SOR as we speak. Thunderhead, Robert Lamoth, nice to see you guys. Frankie B, honest content, necessary dialogue. Good to have you here. Trucker Andrew, how you doing? Paula Fost is here. So is Stephanie Kenny Blankenship. Shogun is here. Shogun will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio, if you don't mind. To the left of the studio. Scrolling on down, T-Bone, my man, how are you? Mark Wolf, nice to see you. Mickey G, what's up? Ozzy, nice to have you here as we scroll on down. Say hello to Jaquetta. And Wilford Brimley is here. Wilford Brimley and his diabetes will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the right of the studio, if you don't mind. To the right of the studio. No chocolate bars, nothing with sugar. He won't sign if you bring sugar with you. That's just the way it is. Scrolling on down. And JMJ12, nice to see you as we continue on with our roll call here. And who else do we have here? Flubber Lane. Good to see you. Thomas Rock, thank you for coming on in as we continue on with our roll call. Chris Irvin, nice to have you here. Undead Jed, Cool Arrow, and D. Henderson is here. D. Henderson will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio, if you don't mind, to the right of the studio. She hasn't signed autographs often. This might even be her first time, maybe second. So be gentle with D. She's very nice, so be gentle. Millennium, my man, how are you? Good to have you here. Mama Catherine, there's my lady. Mwah. I love you, Mama Catherine. Hope you had a great day. I know you're going to enjoy tonight's show, so you just sit back, relax, and I will host the show. Sound good? Good deal? Love you, dear. Yeah, she's the best. All right, scrolling on down. Cody Eiler, thanks for coming on in. Pony Pong, nice to see you. And who else do we have? Who else? Let's see here. Scrolling on down. What in tarnation? How are you tonight? And Paramarv, nice to see you. And Brent Andre Fleury, they call him Flower. Capster, how you doing? Vincent, how you doing? Number 28 in your program, starting on defense tonight from Stockholm, Sweden. Lars Jansson, special emissary, welcome to SOR Chat. T-Bone, thank you for kicking off the Super Chat tonight. The Super Chat is a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. So thank you very, very much for your love, buddy. Woo-poo, how you doing tonight? Let's get the radio side going. Hello and welcome to the radio and podcast side of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We have a great show coming up. UFOs, trying to find them in the sky, disclosure. Tom King, researcher, is going to join us here tonight. We are in roll call on our YouTube side, so let's quickly say hello to Area 54. Or is it? No, he's Area 55 now. He's Area 55. How you doing? Thank you for that awesome super chat. I'm not going to get used to that for a while. Area 50. All right. And who else do we have? Integrationing. Nice to see you. And J Truth. Dunzel. How you guys doing? Animal Mother. Thanks for coming on in. Jojo. Nice to see you. And don't forget, you can shop at our Spaced Out Radio store. We do not have ugly swag, people. No ugly swag. So check it on out. Throw those horns up, everybody. Let's rock.
Are you ready to hear your mystic voice of the night?
It's time to wake up.
He's here. Shush. Be quiet. He's ready for you to listen. Let's point our ears to what's that really happening now. We're together. It's time for Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott.
From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Tonight's show is brought to you by Caribou Con. Join us in the heart of British Columbia for Caribou Con in the 108-mile ranch. Go to cariboucon.com. Get your tickets today. Our event, September 18th through 20th. Tonight's show is going to be a good one. Tom King, UFO researcher, experiencer, eyewitness. He will be here for the next couple of hours. Then in number 3, we are going to have Swamp Dweller. Follow that up with the UFO report. Grant Baker will be here for that as well. So let's get right to it. This is one of my favorite guests here. Tom King is an Arizona-based technology expert, investigator, and documentary filmmaker who has dedicated more than 3 decades to researching the UFO UAP phenomena. Best known for his work surrounding the legendary Phoenix Lights event of March 13th, 1997. Tom has interviewed hundreds of eyewitnesses, analyzed video evidence, and explored military, government, and civilian reports in an effort to better understand one of the most famous UFO mass sightings in history. As a producer, writer, and on-camera investigator, Tom has also appeared in numerous documentaries, television shows, podcasts, radio shows as well, sharing his extensive knowledge and research into unidentified aerial phenomena. His work focuses on separating credible evidence from speculation, emphasizing witness testimony, and making sure that this topic remains respected inside and out the UFO community. Let's bring him on in. Tom King, it is great to have you on Spaced Out Radio again. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Dave. Thanks for having me back on the show. I think this is the 3rd time. So I was going to head out in the desert tonight and go Skywatch with a new tool, but instead of listening tonight, I'll come on and give people update of what's going on. Good timely update to contact me anyway.
Well, you have such a plethora of knowledge and film and discovery into this topic. For a lot of people who, Tom, may not understand what UFOs are all about, you're a scientist by trade. You are somebody who is a nuts and bolts kind of guy. You want to know what's going on. Why do you think there are strange phenomena flying in our sky?
I think it's just a part of our Earth reality that some people are tuned into and aware, and some people aren't. You almost have to pay attention to this, or it almost has to call out to you at some point in your life. This phenomenon seems to reach people at different points. Sometimes it's when you're a kid, sometimes it's when you're an adult, sometimes it's on a family vacation, walking a dog. And when it happens, then you can't really, nobody can tell you otherwise if you had a close encounter, depending on what you had and what's going on. I enjoy just how hard this is. That this isn't easy. It's as hard as like landing a rocket. People didn't think that we could get rockets to land, and SpaceX does this right now on a regular basis. So this is a hard thing, but we are making progress together as a group. I know it's maddening to people because it seems like we're moving ahead at a snail's pace, but I don't think so. I think we're actually moving kind of rapidly. I listen to you quite often at night. My routine's kind of at 9 o'clock. Got a hot tub now. Get in the hot tub, turn that thing on for 20 minutes, Skywatch. I have the show on in here in the control room. I go out, transfer out to the hot tub, listen out there. But we are making progress. I was listening. I know you don't think so with the government latest drops or tranches, but I'm looking at that maybe through a different set of eyes.
I think part of my frustration is watching the games being played in real time. It isn't so much questioning the phenomena, questioning whether or not UFOs are here. I totally believe 100% on my children's lives, on a Bible, whatever you want to put in front of me, that UFOs are here. I think it's my biggest issue is what I feel is a shell game being played by these people from the intelligence agencies, from the government themselves, making this almost hysterical at times when we're trying to find out the truth of what it is. And so that would be my beef with everything. It isn't about the phenomena itself. So I hope that clarifies for you.
Well, when I was listening, I was thinking something different in my head. It's kind of sounded like you had written off most of what the government has dropped on their website. And a lot of it you can, because a lot of it's, there's no metadata. There's no context to it. There's a couple of little good videos in there. But I look at it from where I sit as kind of a process that we are making incremental steps up this ladder to get to the final disclosure, which would be, the movie, wheeling out the aliens, let's see the historical films. Let's see the alive alien. Let's get there. But we're not going to get there immediately. We get there by these small, they get used to steps, and they turn up that water, and all of us frogs boil together, and we don't even know we're being cooked.
Well, I think you bring up a good point on that. I think that I believe what some people have said. We are in a marathon. We are not in a sprint. And this marathon, a marathon is 27 miles long, or 27 and a half miles, 26 and a half miles, whatever it is. And I mean, if you put that in years, we're on year number, what, 6?
80.
Well, we're on year
marathon.
80
yeah.
In ufology. But since the government really got involved, we're on what, year number 5, 6 here, where they started paying attention. So, I mean, nothing with the government moves fast. So, I mean, you and I will probably be in our 80s, late 70s, early 80s before the real juicy stuff starts coming out. and we're going to be like with, snapping in our old folks' homes saying, see, I told you kids that this was coming. You didn't believe me. You gave me tinfoil hats for every Christmas. Yet here we are. So yes, I think you're right in a lot of those points. I think for me, it's the frustration of the people involved telling us stories and manipulation. I don't think they're lying, but I don't think they're telling the truth either. And when I see, the latest tranche for me was very, very difficult, especially when I'm going through, I see the AI renderings. That doesn't help the cause, right? The
Yeah.
Walter Cronkite interview with the Apollo astronauts, that doesn't help the cause. And to me, it made me start to wonder, are we being played here? Because even with the videos that were shown in tranches 1 and 2, and trust me, Tom, I was so excited. I got up at 5:00 in the morning and went live on our YouTube channel just so we could be there live for that first tranche. And, it was unbelievable. I was really excited. But when I started looking at the videos and seeing most of them in war zones, well, where do you take your technology that you've been hiding the whole time if you're part of the military industrial complex? You film them in a war zone because that's what they're meant for. So it made me start to think, and I didn't like the answer that I was seeing, especially when you get all these people, Tom, whether it's Lou Elizondo or Tim Gallaudet, who's saying the oceans are unsafe now, because of the UFOs that are underneath the water. I mean, God, he made it sound like we're dealing with megalodons rather than Jaws. So I think it's the overhyping of it all, and then not being able to back it up with the proof or evidence that has me frustrated.
Dave, that's why I love you, because you do not sit here and promise these people next week, 2 weeks, it's coming. I say the same thing, and I'm sure the audience gets kind of upset. They don't want to hear that, hey, maybe in 10 years, they'll actually show us photos of dead beings by then. They won't show us maybe a live one, but we'll at least get past, because we're in the UFO stage where they're showing us different types of UFOs, and they're carefully guarding that. But yeah, there will never be a point where everybody goes, I'm good, I don't need to know anymore.
Right.
Because if you learn about the Greys, then you're going to be like, well, how did they get into this? Who contacted them first? There's always going to be another creature in the cantina to discover, right? There's always going to be another rock or something to uncover. So will never end to anyone's satisfaction. But we are in the era where they're showing us stuff. And I could imagine there was a lot of arguments behind the scenes with people who want to disclose and the Susan Go types that don't. And they're saying, stonewall them. It's worked for 80 years. Don't give them nothing. And then you got the people that want to go and look. If we don't give them anything, then they're saying this is a cover up and we look worse than if we give them something. They know we're collecting this stuff, so let's at least give them something. It leaks sometimes, so that way we could say we're transparent. So what we're getting is stuff. It's stuff to look at, not too good, but they're giving us something so they can say we did it. So it's some political theater, like you're saying, games. And I'm watching behind the scenes. What's playing out is there's kind of two camps here. There's the crash retrieval camp, and then there's the slow-mo camp that people like Chris Mellon are in, where they're practical, saying, let's get satellite imagery, let's get NASA imagery, let's get other imagery so we can start cementing this in, cement in a foundation they can't walk away from. But then there's the people who, I don't know, maybe you got in ufology in 2020 and you're new and you only been in this for 5-6 years and you can't wait. You don't have the patience. You want to go straight to the crash retrieval stuff. They're not going to do that. Like I said, this is a small step up this ladder that's got a heck of a long way to go. And the people want to just go to the crash retrieval. It's like you want to get to the end of the movie without watching Act 1 and 2. You just want to go straight to Act 3. And I get it. We all want to go there and get this over with. But in reality, it's not going to happen.
Tom, I want to take you back in time here for people who may be listening to you for the first time. This really hit home for you in 1997 with the Phoenix Lights.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to be. That's what will be on my digital headstone. Is one of the guys who filmed the Phoenix Lights as far as hard evidence that night, as I was hunting UFOs that night, and the thing unfolded in front of me. And then I got up to be a part of a major mass sighting that we had. And it was fun. And at the same time, it was eye-opening to see just mistakes being made left and right. The fighting that goes on a case like this of who controls it. Back then, we didn't have the internet in the way we do now, where the whole thing would be modernized or monetized and put out a crumb at a time. I mean, imagine if the Phoenix Lights happened and Jeremy Corbell was the lead investigator, right? And we had it happen in this city, and we had 10,000 ring cameras. We had cameras everywhere, and he gets possession of the case. He covers up stuff longer than the actual government because he's got to make money along the way. But no matter who would be the investigator, let's say that nightmare would happen. So it's almost like we went forward in many ways with the internet, but we kind of went backwards because of the monetization of all this changes the way people think. Instead of thinking, how am I going to figure this out? What's this all about? They think mathematically. How can I get more subscribers? How can I get more followers? How can I get more Instagram people? We didn't think like that in the 90s. So it's weird kind of coexisting in both these worlds at the same time. So a lot of these modern day people, they would, like, if they demonetized ufology, 95% of the people in this industry would disappear overnight because they're only in this for the Google ad check that they get once a month. And that's it. You cut those checks off, they're gone. They'll go post cat videos or do something else, but they would get out of this. So it's kind of helped ufology, kind of hurt ufology at the same time.
What did you see that night during the Phoenix Lights?
What I saw was two different events. One was about 9:40 or so. And then what happened on the videotape that I shot at 10 o'clock. So we were over at this guy's house, and you know, people say that the 10 p.m. thing, and they say it's flares, so we can, you know, get that out of the way. Probably it was flares, right? But they say it's a diversion. And I get that this is the question I'll be answering this forever. No, it was not a diversion because I had an appointment to go there to film this, right? I had a phone call from the late Bill Hamilton, who's an underground base researcher. And he found out through the internet that this guy, Steve Blonder, was having these sightings at his house every night, Monday. And we filmed this on a Thursday, right? So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, he was filming these orange orbs every night. He said, you come over to my house between this hour and this hour, you're going to film these UFOs. So Bill goes, you got the best camera, get your stuff, let's go film this. So we did. Fortunately, we met Stephen Greer that night. I invited him just to be nice. He declined. Later, he would go on to take credit and become what he is now. But we went to this guy's house, and because we had this like appointment. But by the time we had got there, the boomerang had flew over. We didn't know anything about no boomerang flying around, right? We had an appointment to film these orange orbs. That's what we did. And we went to his house. He said it's already happened. That's what Steve told us. We watched his videotapes of what he was recording throughout the week. Unfortunately, he did not know how to operate a manual focus. So his videos were 95% unusable because they were pulsating in and out of focus. But he was filming something that was weird in orange. So I didn't want to tell him this stuff was out of focus. I thought it was kind of rude, you know, being in somebody's house and kind of like shooting them down in their room, you know. So anyway, I said, where are you seeing this? So kind of segued out of there into his balcony. So he goes, I'm seeing him up here on second story balcony. And then he goes, there it is, there it is, there it is. And he points it out. And he goes, there's another one. It was like the third or fourth light that evening on March 13th. So I looked at it, and you know, I've been sky watching for a couple of years, pretty hardcore. I knew immediately this didn't belong. Like, this shouldn't be there. That's not a street light, airplane, anything. So I run down, get the camera, telescope, tripod. I brought all this equipment with. Ran up into his back into his house, and there were like at least 10 people around, and set up a tripod and a telescope, and we looked at it. Right. So we looked at this orange light. We did not see any smoke, any of that stuff. So later on, after the sighting happened, there was this kid named Mitch Stanley who said, well, this kid saw the boomerang through a telescope, and he said it was an airplane. Well, two can play a game. I had a telescope. We saw what happened at 10 p.m. Those lights threw up. We didn't see any smoke. We didn't see any flares, right? So how come it works one way but not the other, right? So anyway, so we saw that light. I recorded a little bit of it. And I wanted to ID it through the scope, because at that time, everything I saw through that telescope, you could see like aircraft blinking lights. I had never seen anything I couldn't ID with this telescope. And the first thing I did that I couldn't ID was on March 13th, that night. So that light disappeared. And about 5 or 10 minutes later, it appeared again. And that's when the 10 p.m. Big long string of events happened. I filmed it from the beginning until the end, and went home and had no idea. I thought it was a big sighting. I didn't think it was going to be something like that it ended up on Spaced Out Radio talking about, right?
Right.
And I go to work the next day. I tell people, hey, last night I filmed the aliens, and they knew I was Skywatcher. Said, Gringo, you're crazy. I'm like, yeah. And I get home from work, my answering machine's full of reporters going, I heard you were out last night. You got some video. So then it started unfolding. So they did not make the announcement that anything happened until March 14th. Later, Fife Symington would come out and claim that he was sitting at home, and this was on the news, and he got out in his truck. He ditched he's the governor, right? So he ditched the DPS protection assigned to him. That's a weird story in itself, right? If it's real. And then he went out to a park. He waited for it, and he saw the boomerang fly over. But that couldn't happen, Dave, because they didn't announce the sighting until the next day. So it wasn't on the news, because no one else reported, hey, well, I was watching television. They interrupted friends, and they said a UFO's coming. So we went out and saw the Phoenix lights. Said no one except Fife Symington.
Maybe, just maybe, not to give him credit, not to play devil's advocate or anything, but maybe he was called to say, hey, you better go outside and take a look at this.
That's possible too, but then why does he tell television shows he was turning on the TV to see what all the hoopla was about? Yeah, I heard that story too, that maybe the Air National Guard had called the governor. Okay, but then it just, no matter what angle that snake slides to, he can't get out of this, right? It just gets worse, right? So instead of doing the responsible thing and calling television reporters or calling DPS or calling emergency services, what does he do? He ditches the police. He goes AWOL, right? From his duties as governor, and goes out to see this for himself. Is that what's really going to happen with our new governor? If she gets a call from the Secret Service, hey, the aliens are on their way, you're going to ditch the cops and leave us all to hang, and this thing could come bomb us this time or shoot lasers down or do whatever? I mean, there's no good way Fife gets out of this. This guy was kicked out of office for a felony, for lying and bank fraud and perjury, and he would have been sitting in prison. But at the time, President Bill Clinton pardoned him. Otherwise, he was on his way to prison, right? And that was his legacy. When men turn 50, they look back and see if they've done anything good in their life. He didn't. He's known for, that alien switcheroo with making a mockery out of this. So he tries to Me Too his way in and go, yeah, I saw it. And I'm like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. Not according to the facts, not according to the timeline. I mean, because in order for him to slip out of the house to go to a park and see it when it flew over at this town at 7:30, right? It was in Prescott. There's a timeline. It was at Prescott at like 7:18. It was on its way in. So he gets a call from Prescott. The United States government
Tom,
does
hold
not
that
have
thought.
stuff like that.
Let's continue. Tom King, UFO researcher, Phoenix Lights, when we return on Spaced Out Radio, and so much more about trying to capture UFOs flying in our sky. All right. Matthew Goodka, how you doing? And who else is here? I think we're good. I think we might be caught up. All right. 1 second, Tom. Jerence Carter is here. Jerence Carter. Ghost Yeshua, how are you? And Mr. Cowley, how you doing? How you doing? All right, we're caught up. Tom, that was a strong start, buddy. Strong start.
Time flies when you're on a podcast, that's for sure.
Oh, for sure. Shane Gord, how are you?
There's a person on the internet that's impersonating me.
Oh, which one?
I don't know. He calls himself Tom King, and he goes around and he says that he saw the Phoenix Lights with his brother. And he puts out a convincing story. And I said, "Your name's Tom King, and you saw the Phoenix Lights?" He's like, "Yeah." "What's your phone number?" So I call him, and that ain't his real name. So I'll meet you if you want to go do this with me. I'll meet you face to face. I ain't afraid of nobody. And show up with your driver's license. "Oh, my name ain't Tom King." "Then why are you doing this? Why are you going around spreading disinformation?" "Because people think it's me. Then I see his name on other YouTube channels and comments and whatnot, putting up huge long Bibles of text. I just think that's crazy. I mean, is there a guy running around saying I'm Dave Scott, and I help Bigfoot have a radio show, and then leaving? Like, dude, it's flattering. Go find somebody else to bother.
That's horrible. I don't understand why people do that. Super crazy. How you doing? Will Canada defeat Morocco on Saturday? God, I don't even want to talk soccer. I'm allergic to it, so I don't know. Best part about the World Cup is it's 2/3 over.
I didn't even know it was on. Well, I have time to watch that stuff. I got sky watching to do, UFOs to track.
Dave, what is that wave effect on your hair? Are you going to dye it black and go emo? No, it just ended up that way today. 8:36. Welcome to SOR chat. Dave Rice, how you doing? Have you heard? Welcome to SOR chat. And Blue Cruise, nice to see you.
See, a myth out there is don't use Pantene for conditioner. It's not good for your hair if you're over 45.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, it eliminates the body in your hair, and you'll have just real thin hair.
I don't even know what kind of shampoo I use. It's a little bit more expensive one. So, Brock, how are you? Welcome to SOR chat. Real conversation should be breakfast foods for dinner. Breakfast foods should stay at breakfast time. Don't even get me started on this. I know what you're doing, Vincent. I know what you're doing. I don't like it. And I know you're laughing at me right now as I bring that up.
Now we're watching the World Cup. I'm watching these women in basketball beat each other up left and right. It's like a boxing match going on in a basketball game.
Yes, I think I've developed a new crush, but I think I'm too old for her. That I don't even know her name. She plays on the same team as Caitlin Clark.
Oh, Sophie. Everybody's talking. Sophie has hit the algorithm.
Yeah, it's my new crush. But it's kind of gross because I'm like double her age plus. First Contact, how you doing? Jim Young on Facebook, how are you? Here we go, everybody. Here comes the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. We appreciate you tuning us in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Tom King is our guest tonight. We're going to get into more UFO talk right after this. But first, we want to remind all of you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives on YouTube or any major podcast network. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. Here we go. Tom King, right before the break, you were talking about your eyewitness account of the Phoenix Lights, your disappointment in Governor Fife Symington. Do you think Fife Symington in that case, when he held that bogus press conference, bringing in the alien in handcuffs, and no, it wasn't a real alien. It was definitely somebody else. I'm 98.9% sure of that, and I'm teasing when I say that. But Tom, do you think that he was put up to that?
Yeah, Francis Emma Barwood thinks so, because around the time that what the people that maybe only know this through like a couple of clips or something like that, what we were going through in town was this trial where this governor was borderline getting removed from office, which I thought was weird because I had moved here. That was 97. I moved here in 95, and that governor was removed from office too. And I'm like, what kind of state did I move to where the governors are so corrupt they get arrested and removed just one after another? Maybe it's a good place, right? Got some justice on a governor level. So he was going through this, and he did that stunt. And I remember when they made the announcement, there was like, at the time, it was like the energy in town, what was going on with the Phoenix Lights and the sighting was almost like a frenzy level. Like you could almost cut the air with a knife. Just the tension that was going on. Like, were we invaded and we didn't know about it? What is going on? We have no protection above us. And like I was saying before the commercial, there's no way that the governor, I don't believe he would know about this in real time, because our government isn't that fast. The reaction time of the government that we saw in 9/11 is delayed and slow. So we don't operate on a federal or state level, or federal and state, which they'd have to have the military contact the government, right? We'll have a cooperative network that happens in real-time mesh. So I reject that he had that, because he's incompetent, right? He's a bank fraud dude. So he got removed from office, and he was going to go to jail, but he got pardoned by President Clinton. Why? Political wise, everyone knows Clinton was a Democrat. Symington was a Republican governor. But here's the weird part. Bill Clinton's a drinker, right? So he liked to drink. And apparently back in their Yale or whatever, when they were going to college, when Clinton was in college, he got so drunk, he drowned, right? And who pulls him out? Fife Simonon saves his life, does mouth-to-mouth resuscitation on this guy. And later, Clinton would go to be president. Fife would go on to be governor. But since one saved the other's life, another saved the other's political life with the soap, if you get my drift. So it's weird how people kind of move up into these places. But that's like a movie type story and stuff. You give a guy mouth to mouth, and later he saves you from going into slammer. Now, back to your question, do you think he was pressured into this? Possibly. It could have been, look, you play ball, and you go out and make a mockery of this thing. Maybe we'll ease your sentencing a little bit on a federal level. Or, it could have been the Clinton administration putting pressure on him. Because remember, Clinton also injured his knee just before that. On March 13th, President Clinton was staying at one of those, a poor person's house, and he was making him soup and just kidding. He was at a rich billionaire's house, right? And in the middle of the night, the Secret Service, for some reason, got him up, moved him quick. He hit a coffee table and busted his knee. You can look all this up, right? So on March 13th, that happened. So what we heard behind the scenes was the federal government thought this was an alien invasion, and they freaked out, went to lowered the DEFCON closer to nuclear war, and got the president out of that place. Said, there's an alien invasion going on in Arizona. We got to go to the ready room. That's what we were kind of hearing rumor behind the scenes. So yeah, there could have been pressure on Fife to do that. We'll never know. You can't get truth out of a guy like that.
When you kind of look back now, almost 30 years later, next year will be 30 years. Well, in reality, about 9 months from now will be 30 years. Do you kind of look at this as probably the most, how can I put it? This is our Roswell. This is our generation's Roswell. Yeah, we may not have the crash, we may not have the aliens, but we got the video footage, and tens of thousands of people in the Phoenix area saw it. And yet it's been swept under the rug as flares, as military aircraft, as whatever you want to call it. Everything but UFOs. Do you think that this should be like one of those shining stars that nobody talks about? It amazes me that we keep talking Roswell, yet nobody talks Phoenix. Like, it seems to be like it's swept into a corner and do not come out until asked, so to speak. I know I asked that horribly, and I'm going to ask you to forgive me for that, but I think you get the gist.
That's a great way of putting it, because I've said that this is our town's Roswell. I don't know about everyone's Roswell, but statewide, this is kind of the biggest event that happened, and it's kind of like, I can point that out. I could be like sitting at a place waiting to get a haircut. Would never happen, but let's say I'm going to a barber place to get a haircut, talking to a stranger. I just bring up UFOs all the time, and it's not crazy. And they go, yeah, it's cool, huh? And so you guys, did you live here back in 97 during the big event, the big one? Everyone knows about it. Almost everyone who's lived in this town at some point has seen the cycle through the local news of the Phoenix Lights. And it's like a big thing here. Maybe in Kingman, they have a thing there because of the craft that landed, I guess, with the car keys in it. And that might be their thing, like their deal there. But yeah, the Southwest, I guess, has its own little thing. Nevada has its Area 51. So every state has its own little weird UFO ecosystem that we're known for, even though not too many years ago, this didn't officially exist at all.
Tom, when you look at it, at what ufology or uapology has become now, it seems like the new wave of uapology really focuses a lot on the start of it being the USS Nimitz incident in 2004. And yes, they talk about Roswell being the granddaddy of them all, but there are so many cases in between. You brought up Kingman. We brought up the Phoenix Lights. There's Kecksburg. There's, you know, Shag Harbor. There's,
Shag Harbor.
you know, there's so many good ones out there. And that is just, you know, a handful. Do you think that we are missing the boat, or you apology is missing the boat regarding what the important ones we should be, the important sightings and eyewitness accounts that we should be worried about or focusing on?
Well, great question, Dave. You know, those are the popular ones that people know about. And we're hearing that 2/3 of these crash retrievals take place in the water. We didn't have any idea about any of those. So if you kind of think about it, it's at least a dozen well-known ones that happened around the U.S. area. And who knows, 2, 3, 4 times that amount that happened out at sea, that would be like U.S. Navy SEAL recovery operations or something like that. So there could be all kinds of things that they recovered that are just scary to even be in the same room with. You know, it makes me wonder, like, remember that old movie, The Sphere, with Sharon Stone that bombed? Or you have movie like Event Horizon. Sometimes I wonder subconsciously if this NHI is going around messing with Hollywood writers, producers, and whatnot, and putting it in pop culture for a reason. Because there's a lot of people in the entertainment industry that are really, really interested in this, and some of them are experiencers.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you just have to look at the granddaddy of them all in Steven Spielberg. Look what he's done for this field. And he's done more than he'll probably ever know.
Or Jim Cameron with just that movie, The Abyss. I mean, he somehow hit too many things on the head without knowing about it. And that guy will be the first to tell you it came from a dream. And then when you take him to court, okay, it came from The Outer Limits, you know, an older episode hardly anybody saw, and a dream. But yeah, and the Independence Day, Dean Devlin, these guys went on to make disaster movies and the world blowing up movies and whatnot. So it makes me wonder how many of these people are experiencers, because you can be an experiencer and you don't even know it. You could have a clean
Very
white
true.
from the grays, right? The aliens could come in. They might have perfected this. Whitley Strieber talked about this. It made some people upset. And I saw him about a year ago. He was not even that long ago. He was in town. And he said the abductions are kind of over on a mass scale. He said this happened a lot through the 90s, and then around 2000s it slowed down. So his theory is either the program that they were doing finalized and they got what they were looking for, or they got so good people just don't know they're getting abducted anymore. And they started mass abductions in the 80s and 90s, slipped up, and refined the technique they were doing into the 2000s.
I'm going to add to that, though, on my theory, because I think Whitley is somewhat right on that, because I've heard that before. But what is, and I'll get your opinion on this, what about the idea that they dropped all the people that they were doing mass abductions to and found a whole new crop? Because 2010 to 2015, there is a bunch of brand new, myself included, and a lot of people that I know and have met through this show. That's when their abductions started, especially heightening around 2013, 2014.
Interesting. The things with me happened in the 90s. So I guess I would have to say a bit of jealousy that they're no longer interested in me anymore, because I haven't had them, aside from the craziness that I'm involved in here, I haven't had them, pick me up at night or do any of those things since 92, 93. So that's a really long time ago. I wish they would come back, because I got some instructions for them this time. I ain't leaving. You get me in that ship, I'm going to be like a cat going to the vet. I'm not getting out of this thing and coming back. I'm staying in the ship, take over the controls. Maybe that's why they won't take me anymore. Because
Does that make you wonder how many people have been taken and when they've gone to drop them off back off at home, they're like, no, you can't force me out of here. You're taking me with you.
that's what I've thought for a long time. And I remember having this conversation. I'm not going back, right? Oh no, 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 like, no. This time is the last. We're picking you up for good now. So get your, like, you guys lie to us all the time. You always tell us that I don't have to go back. And that must be like 90% of the conversations with these beings is I don't have to go back, right? Those jobs, they're over. You know, I can come up here. Whatever's going on up here, I'm up here now, right? Not, yeah. They promise you everything, and then you wake up in bed going, "You effing liars! You did it to me again." I bet you that resonates with a lot of people watching this. Where I know exactly what you're talking about because they had this type of conversation with these things too.
I yell at them now. I haven't been taken, as far as I know, in over 2 years, literally since I started sleeping with a CPAP. And it's very weird. I'm not saying that they've stopped, but I have no recall on anything now since I started sleeping with the CPAP. Weird.
Have you tried to put yourself under surveillance by taping yourself at night? I tried that. Watched the results. Said, "I ain't doing this no more."
What happened there? Do you mind me asking?
Yeah, I thought I had this video. I know I saved it because of how weird it was. Okay, this was back in the 90s again, and I was aware this was happening. I just didn't know when. So I started sleep. When I go to sleep, I just turn on a tape, and it was VHS. So I'd put them in like 6-hour or 8-hour mode. You know, the SL. I'm dating myself here. Long play, right? So I would do that to try and get 8 hours out of it and go to sleep. I think it was the second or maybe the third night. I hear something on tape. You hear a high-pitched drilling sound that sounds like I don't know, a hummingbird, but a hummingbird that would be a couple of feet big, like zzz. You hear this zip and you hear smack. And right when you hear this smack, I wake up and I go like this and I hit my hand on my forehead and I wake up and I'm watching this and I go, "What the hell happened to me last night?" I'm like, so you hear a sound and you can almost like see it go across and it hits me in the forehead. I'm like, "Wow, I got hit." And I was like, maybe they were in the process of doing something. So I said, "I don't want to know any more about this stuff. That's enough. Good to go." So I stopped. That was just after a couple of days of that.
That sounds creepy.
I don't know what happened to the tape. Otherwise, because people know I play old stuff that I got. I mean, I got stuff from '84 where I'm doing breakdance and stuff, and I'm 14. I got it my whole life, you know, unfolded on VHS and compact. You know, kids got phones now. Well, I had one. It was called a VHS recorder, and you had to walk around with the VHS VCR with you and with the camera. I got all that stuff when they first came out.
Man, I remember that stuff too. That wasn't light.
Nope. Wasn't easy to get when you were 14 years old too.
No kidding.
Yeah, I had a line of credit when I was 15.
We got 5.5 minutes before we have to go to break at the top of the hour. Researcher Tom King on the UFO side is here. Tom, you spend a lot of your nights outside looking at the sky. You got those beautiful Arizona desert nights that you have there, big skies all over. How often are you seeing things, and how often do you think that it's man-made or non-man-made? What would be your percentage?
Good question. I don't know if I've ever seen a UFO that's man-made. Everything that I've seen that eventually scratch off, like wasn't plane, wasn't bird, wasn't, you know, and I'm left with whatever, I just go, I don't know, weird UAP. So I kind of chalk if it's UAP, it's all weird UAP. I don't know how the government has the money to have some dude sit in a craft and fly over my house at random times at 10 to 20,000 feet that I'm picking up. I mean, that's a heck of a jobs program. And if that guy is if it's man-made, he's better than Commander Fravor. I don't know where all these secret pilots they're getting them from, right? So I don't know. But I do, when I go at it, when I put the pedal to the metal, so to speak, and I turn on the collection system, got all the TVs, and I'm picking up something at least once every 5 weeks, sometimes once every 10 days, depending upon activity and how hard I'm going at this. Because I get burned out. I got a life too, just like everyone else. To live in my downtime. We are taking off Saturday morning. I've talked about this before. We're doing sky watching in a helicopter again. So this will be another trip over to Superstition Mountains. I did that one time before with Dan Starkey and recorded something in the area he thought we were going to record something. So I think we're going to try that again with some AK cameras Saturday morning for 4th of July Skywatch, and then whatever results turn up, I'll be on the air later that night with live podcast talking about that. So yeah, and then tonight I was going to go out. I just got my hands on. I finally got me a nice little Psionics camera. Came with this case. So I have joined. Took me a while, but I finally joined into the Psionics Club. So I was going to go out and test this out tonight somewhere, but there's other nights. Get that. I got thermo. I got it's not as good as a PVS-7. A PVS-7 can see a little bit better than the Psionics, but it can't record. So I got a plethora of different equipment, everything you pretty much need to go out and to film this one way or another. Again,
What is the difference, in your opinion, between something that's man-made and something that's not?
well, to me, the man-made stuff like you talk about sometimes would be like the triangular craft. It would be something that people our size can fit in, right? That has, little cockpit chairs you can strap people down, and would probably say U.S. Air Force and be, identified a little bit on the side. So I can imagine that we have something that's pretty close to these. A lot of our new military drones and whatnot are triangular shaped. And if we were to see these 20 years ago, we'd mistake all of them for small triangular craft.
Do you think then, out of all the craft that you have seen, you think that there's a lot more UFOs up there than what we think?
Yeah, some days I would say that there's thousands and thousands of these objects in orbit. We were, for a while, at least with my mentality, we were looking for underground bases, like for a door. I think that's maybe the wrong idea. If first, we're not going to find an alien base, right? You're not going to find a door. A door is a human construct. That's something for us to lock our stuff in or lock our stuff out. These objects come in and out of the ground, so they don't need exactly an area where they come in and out of a hole. They can just come in and out of right beneath my feet if they need be, or out of the ocean or out of space. So I don't know if we're ever going to really say, here's a hot spot, here's a zone. There's somewhere in this area of a mountain is the exact alien base. Because I don't see why they would need like a front door to fly through if they can just go through any type of solid granite, rock, water, whatever.
We have about 30 seconds before we have to go to break at the top of the hour. Tom King is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Tom, when we look at this phenomena, I think it's a very individual phenomena. I really do. Do you find that your sightings are being seen by other people, or do you think they're meant for you?
I think that whether they're tailored for each person, maybe if you're close to one, if you're within, 50 to 100 feet. For the most part, I think we're kind of watching a shared experience. But that said, there are some times when a person sees something and a person next to him doesn't see it at all. I see it all the time in the daytime when we're looking at stuff. And you could look at it going, it's right there, man. It's right there. I don't see it. Come on, it's right there. I don't see it. And then it's like, look through the laser. It's right there.
Tom King, he'll be with us for another hour on Spaced Out Radio, talking all things UFOs.
This is Spaced Out Radio with host Dave Scott.
All right, Tom, we're going to play a little video here, and we'll be back in about 5 minutes, okay?
Okay.
Our merch is Bigfoot approved. We have t-shirts, we have mugs, we have hoodies, we have socks, we have hats, we have stickers, and so much more. Whatever you're looking for, we have you covered. Why just be a fan of the paranormal when you can buy Spaced Out Radio merch and look the part? Our merch ain't ugly, folks. Check out the Spaced Out Radio store. Find the link in the description below.
Lurking within the forested region of the 108-mile ranch, where the worlds of the normal and paranormal collide. CaribouCon is waiting for you, bringing together a panel of renowned experts in the paranormal, cryptid research, and UFO phenomena fields. Get ready for a spine-tingling weekend in the heart of British Columbia. Enjoy fascinating discussions, presentations, tours of local haunted areas, and skywatching. Learn from investigators, authors, and enthusiasts who explore everything from ghost hunting techniques to sightings of Sasquatch and beyond. Whether you're a seasoned paranormal researcher or just love a good spooky story, this is your chance to connect with fellow enthusiasts in one of BC's most mysterious areas. Tickets are on sale now. Grab yours before they're gone. Visit cariboucon.com for details, tickets, and updates.
Are you ready to dive into the weird and wonderful world of cryptids, cartoons, and chaos? Meet Dirty Filth, Spaced Out Radio's resident cartoonist and master of the mysterious. Every Saturday at 2 p.m. Pacific, join him live on the Spaced Out Radio YouTube channel for Cryptid Cartoons with Dirty Filth, a hilarious hour where he sketches bizarre beasts, shares mind-bending stories, and battles his mischievous cats. Whether you're a UFO enthusiast, paranormal fan, or just love quirky art, Dirty Filth filters the universe through his unique lens, creating cartoons that capture the strange, dark, and supernatural. Follow Dirty Filth on X at Filth1 or Facebook at Dear Filth for more filthy fun. Find his link in the description below.
Spaced Out Radio wants to hear from you. We love our community, and your voice truly matters. Drop a comment after every show and let us know what you thought. Agree with our guests? Tell us why. Disagree? We want to hear that too. We read every single comment. Jump into the live chat during the broadcast and be part of the conversation in real time. Got a killer topic idea? Your suggestions help shape the show. And if you want to take it even further, join our Patreon for bonus content and direct feedback opportunities with Dave and the team. This is your show as much as it is ours. Whether you're a longtime listener or brand new, we want your thoughts, your questions, and your ideas. and let's keep building this incredible community together. Spaced Out Radio, where the conversation never ends. What are you waiting for? We're listening.
With 5 explorable Gold Rush era buildings said to be home to spirits of a time forgotten, the 108-mile heritage site in the heart of BC's Caribou region offers a unique opportunity for thrill seekers and history buffs. For an evening of historical fun, step into our guided ghost tours, where spine-chilling stories of Gold Rush legends and unexplained encounters come alive. For those craving even more, inquire with us about conducting a hands-on paranormal investigation of your own. And if you're truly brave, book our haunted sleepovers. Spend the night at our B&B inside the McNeil House to truly experience this historical landmark and its ghostly secrets firsthand. For booking or inquiries, go to haunted108.com.
Thank you, T-Bone, for gifting the 5 memberships. Thank you to Tamisha. Thank you, GSCO, T-Bone again, Area 55, and Pam Harris. We appreciate your love and support of Spaced Out Radio. Terry Hall and your gorgeous mustache, how you doing in the chat room tonight? Thank you for coming on in. Who else joined us here? Illumino, how you doing? It's been a while. Nice to see you. And I think we're caught up in the chat room. And Tom, we got about 10 seconds before showtime here. So just sit back, relax, and we'll get this thing going in about, 3 seconds now. Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. We appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on every major podcast network, our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Lanyap. Lanyap is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. We bring in Tom King. He's a UFO researcher based out of Phoenix, Arizona, and in the area, witness to the Phoenix Lights. And we're talking UFOs right now. What is the difference between a UFO and something that could be man-made? Can the natural eye or just anybody, Tom, figure out the difference?
If they're man-made or UFO, I guess that depends on the circumstance, wouldn't it? Because they're all different. I know people have seen orbs close up, right? Like within 50 feet. So you would know that's probably not man-made. It just depends on what type of situation you've run into, I think.
What's the closest you think you've been to a UFO?
God, that's a good one. Well, I guess that would be in the UFO if that's what I was inside of. I don't know if I ever got inside a UFO because I've never seen the outside. I just saw like the transition point of walking from one to another. Like they could literally butt into this room, your room, with their ship, just open up a hole in the wall and walk right through it. So I guess that would be it. But if we're talking visually, one of the closest ones I seen was probably about 50 to 80 feet away. And it was in the daytime. It was a red orb about the size of a beach ball, and it was semi-transparent, so you could see through it. And for those people who play with Photoshop, had about a 50% gradient, so it was somewhat transparent, somewhat solid. And I looked at it, and I remember this was just before the Phoenix Lights back in '97. I looked at it, it had a drop camera behind me. So what that was is I had a camera that was always loaded with a fresh VHS, Super VHS tape and a fresh battery. It was sitting behind the door. So because I never knew when I was going to see something, and I knew it took like 17 seconds to open that door, hit the button, have that thing spin up, hit the record button because I timed it. I'm looking at this red orb, and it's like that Jurassic Park moment where you just freeze, like in front of that dinosaur. Like, don't move. Because if I move and I go for that camera, that thing's going to split. So, like, what do you do then? Do you enjoy it? So that's what I did. I just, instead of for once going for the camera so you guys can see it, I just froze and looked at, like, if I move, whatever this thing is going to go away. And it did. It just moved up, and within whoosh, just disappeared. Didn't record it.
Out of all the UFOs you have captured on video, have you seen a similarity in what they look like?
Yes. Optically, as far as what's showing up on video, is a lot of these objects are vibrating, or they're transitioning from one object into another object faster than the 30 frames a second or 60 frames that my camera is capturing them in. So we would need something like high speed, 240 frames or something, to try and find out what's going on inside, because there's stuff going on extremely fast. Just like, for example, if you were to film the thrust of a rocket engine, there's a lot of propulsion coming out real quick, and we don't really have a grasp of what that is except looking at thrust, right? So we're not sure what we're looking at, but one of the commonalities is it seems like they're vibrating and shifting around, but I don't exactly know what that is. We're just now getting at the point where we're getting imagery of these. So it's not just me. There's other people that have noticed these objects up there over at 10,000 feet. And they noticed that if you pay attention, you can film them on a pretty regular basis. And if you got really good optical gear, you can start penetrating through that potato image and find out what it really looks like when you get some imagery and structure on these objects. And it's not what we think.
What do you think they are? Do you think they are from here, or do you think they come from somewhere else?
I'm thinking a mix of both. I mean, because from the experience angle, that was interdimensional because it came through the wall. I walked through the wall with him. But from watching other cases like Travis Walton, and things like that, I think we probably have a mix. We probably have things from another star system. And we probably have other things that have figured out how to slip in and out of our dimension and another dimension, or use it as camouflage. It may not be another dimension. It may just be some type of optical camouflage within the electromagnetic spectrum. And they just have technology we don't, that makes them look cloaked, that makes them appear that they're in a different dimension when they're actually maybe here with us. We don't know.
Tom King is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Tom, outside of the Phoenix Lights, what is your best footage that you have? Describe it to us.
That's actually going to be probably the one I shot 4 months ago. Like I said before, I've filmed a lot of things. So if this were to stop, I'm good. I don't know why I was thinking about this today. I always need to get another one. Like, what I have is okay. It suffices, I mean, how many do you need until you say I'm good? And apparently I'm not there. I need another one. The best one I filmed was probably the last one, right? And that was one that happened during a summoning, and this object showed up. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it is. I got it at a high power magnification, which was on my surveillance dome camera. So that was at 145 or no, a 45 optical power. And I pushed a little bit into the digital. I got to tweak the focus. So it was on camera long enough so I could hit the plus button and the minus button and just get that focus perfectly dialed in to go, okay, I got you in focus. Now we should be able to resolve this. This should be able to turn out to be grocery bag, balloon, sky trash, airplane. It wasn't any of that stuff. And what kind of freaked me out was I was doing research on summonings. I researched the people who do the summonings. I looked for things they have in common that they do and thought, as a nuts and bolts guy, I got nothing to lose. Why don't I try it? It probably won't work, but what if it does? So I gave it a shot, did some meditation for just maybe 3 minutes, not very long. And then I thought, show up, because I have this equipment, and if you show up and I film you, I could show other people. And I thought, just so I kind of think that you're listening, can this be read? And that's just what I thought. Can it be read? Like, don't make it too detailed, because we're not ordering, like, we're not putting in a pizza with what you want on toppings, right? We're just saying, I want to see a UFO, maybe of the shape. You keep it kind of simple. That's what I did. And then 2 hours later, object shows up. It's red. And a lot of the times what I film are white phosphorus type UFOs. And this thing it looked like the sports model with a red dome on top, is what it looked like when I got it in focus. And I got it for about maybe a minute and a half when it was completely in focus. And then after that, it just started taking off and just flying away and flying away and flying away. And when I was done, I was like, I don't know what just happened, but this freaked me out because the summoning worked. And it ain't supposed to work, right? That's supposed to be crazy stuff. And then when it happens, like I said in the first hour, when this happens to you and it personalizes it, then you just, what do you do? What do you do? I mean, I'm a nuts and bolts guy. Tried summoning, a UFO showed up. It was probably the best footage I've filmed. And then I can't deny summoning doesn't work, at least sometimes.
Let's get to some audience questions here, because they're really racking up for you here, Tom.
All right.
Going to start off with first contact. General Neil McCaslin supposedly helped Tom DeLonge to set up the To the Stars Academy. Why didn't General McCaslin reveal everything he knew before his disappearance, in your opinion?
That's a good question. I don't know what was in this guy's mind. There's speculation he wasn't getting ready to talk, so they eliminated him. I think, why haven't remote viewers found him? I see all these people on podcasts talking about their remote view this, remote view that, but it's always something you can't fact check, right? It's always some old bones, or it's Mars, or it's like, and why don't you go after McCaslin and find out where he is, where his remains are, right? Why don't you find out where some lost gold is? Why don't you find out exactly where Travis Taylor needs to put that drill on Skinwalker Ranch to find out what's buried in the mesa? They don't do any of that stuff, right? So I don't know, I guess I answered that with a different question. Where's our remote viewing power to get this, to find it?
I think that he isn't allowed, and that he was becoming a security threat. I don't think they offed him, but I think they, whoever they are, took him. I don't think it was terrorists or another external force that is trying to upend the United States government. I don't think that at all. I think that it was probably one of our own who said, look, General McCaslin is showing signs of some sort of mental weakness right now. because there is rumors, allegedly, he may be at the start of dementia or Alzheimer's. And because he has a multi-billion-dollar brain and knows all of our biggest secrets, we need to bring this guy in quietly and keep him in our possession until his days run out. I think that's what happened. That's just me. I think he's still alive. I really do.
Well, that's a better answer than what I have, Dave. If anybody believes any of the Bob Lazar timeline, and whether you do or not, they definitely tap your phones. They have the FBI internally tap the phones of every single person that would be in this type of legacy programs. That would be General Gasland and his wife, and probably his kids if he has any, right? Because they want to see, what do they know? Has he talked to him? And if he gets to the point like, hey, this guy's getting senile or something, then would our program kill our own people? That's a pretty dirty question. Is it that dirty that they just said, well, you're no longer needed? They take you out in the desert and they pop you with the silencer. Or do they say, look, you're a liability. You will now live out the rest of your days in this underground base. And you will keep continuing your work. And it'll be kind of like Fallout, where you be in this area, will make up a BS story that the nukes went off. You can't come out, stay down here and work on stuff. Could be.
I mean, we're coming up 4 months since he vanished. And, for the police to sit there and say naively that in the affluent area where he lived in Albuquerque, New Mexico, that nobody had security cameras, nobody had ring cameras, nobody saw him get into that alleged repairman's van that was there because his wife was only gone for an hour, and the repairman had pulled up just as she had left a few minutes later. I think that's a little bit too contrived, that a gentleman of his age can just vanish into thin air unless the aliens came and got him, or if somehow there's a tunnel somewhere in his property that leads to an exit.
Well, apparently, cadaver dogs aren't any good in these situations. They just come up empty-handed. It makes me kind of think that whatever happened with him probably is connected to the disappearance of the Nancy Guthrie case that was on the news all the time. And, I just get so cynical that I just think, you know what, maybe they just take these people out. Well, maybe in the Guthrie case, and the intelligence community disappeared her, got rid of her. I'm not even thinking they put her in they put her in some shallow grave out here in the Arizona desert. And then they can control the news and say, here's some dumb crap to watch for 3 weeks. And when, just to keep you, busy. And then when that runs out, we'll have some more dumb crap, because I don't think the life of one single person is very important at all when on a spook level, when it comes to keeping the screws tapped down on all these programs and all this illegality and all this stuff. If they got wet operations and they're going to say, hey, this is a loose end, we're going to cap you. Now, I think they'll do it to anybody. It doesn't matter if you're famous or whatever. I think a lot of this is just about controlling the narrative. Every day there has to be some story that keeps people asleep and stupid and just going about their business. Just don't pay attention to what's going on. I mean, we're a country that's heavily in debt, and at some point that's going to come to haunt us. And just keep everything going, keep the gears going. So I don't know. I'm just too cynical after 3 decades of this, thinking our government would. Yes, our government would. They sure as heck would.
But aren't we all getting a little cynical though? Because there is such a lack of transparency and a lack of answers.
Well, how can you not? I mean, what do all these people do all day? That's why I wonder. There's like 30,000 something FBI agents, 30,000 CIA agents. What are you working on? Who are you stopping? Like, how do you get your check every Friday? What do you do? You're not up to, because every time we at least hear about the CIA, it's no good. They're always on the wrong side of where they should be. We always hear, "Oh God, not what did the CIA do that?" Because I haven't been paying attention, but we had these mind control hearings this week, right? And that's something I really don't even want to. That's kind of like me videotape myself sleeping. I don't even want to know what's going on there. I don't even want to know what kind of mind control stuff they've done. Because if they've done this mind control stuff, did they do it to ufologists? Did they do it to this General Gasland? Did they do it to their own people? How deep does that rabbit hole go? I haven't really followed that. That's just not a rabbit hole I want to go down.
Tom King is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We got 4.5 minutes till we go to break. Let's get in one more question here. Paramarv is asking, what do you think the story is with the UFO with the car keys that you mentioned?
I think that is probably referring to the Kingman giveaway UFO, where they're saying this wasn't actually a crash. This was an abandoned vehicle. And the idea with the keys in it is that maybe some UFOs can be piloted by human type people, and it doesn't have some type of conscience interface where you have either some type of advanced telepathy or some technology that interfaces the creature with the ship. Think about it. It'd be really, really stupid for somebody to come to this planet, right? And then have like just the ship has no keys, right? Because most like helicopters, aircraft, stuff like that, they don't have keys. You just got to know what buttons to turn on the pumps, turn on the engines, right? You wouldn't want to have that with a spaceship, so you get stranded. Modern day cars have key fobs where the owner can get in and out of the car because you got a thing in your pocket. So you think UFO would be along the same lines, that you would at least need the alien keys off the gray or whatever, the being suit or mind interface. But maybe they got some of them that are kind of like Blackberries, right? They might have UFOs that are smart UFOs, and they're too smart that you got to interface with everything, right? And some people are like aliens. Well, we want the simple ones. The ones with the controls, the physical sticks, the stuff you can move, the ones that the humans can also drive. So it could be a hybrid version. But either way, even if we got our hands on the alien version that we couldn't control at all, we would have to back engineer it with sticks, with something that we could control so we could fly around.
Let's go to ACUF here. Regardless of its scope, what's the importance of the Phoenix Lights sighting? Is it still important?
That's a good question. Not really more. It's a footnote in the history of the ufology is what it amounts to. What can be learned on it is what to do next time this happens. It's not going to be an if, it's going to be a when. When something like this happens over a major city or a town, we talk about this as in our group here in Phoenix all the time. If this happens again, what did we learn from the lessons? What do we do next time? Right. So what would you, the community, do if this were to say happen over San Diego? And things like this they've had the boomerang fly over San Diego, but no one filmed it. Not on a mass sighting. But if something like this were to happen again, I think it'd be just, I don't think anybody would learn from any of the lessons that happened with our case, what not to do. I think it'd just be different infighting, different groups. You'd have people like Stephen Greer try to control it and say they're here to talk to him again, because he tried to take credit from the Phoenix Lights, which he had nothing to do with. Then you probably have Corbell figure out, how do I monetize this, bro? And then the intelligence community come in and all those people. That's a good question. The real thing that I think about is, why did it happen? I think, like, who did the aliens get mad? So I just think of, maybe the Clinton administration back in the day did some secret recovery operation that pissed off the aliens. And they came and did the Phoenix Lights as a middle finger back to the government, thinking, if you want to show us flex because they did something to make them upset. Then the aliens came and did their parade down the state to show you that, hey, we can do this over and over and over. And it's the federal government and your beloved Wall Street that you have to explain all this away in the morning. So that's what I think kind of some of the lessons where things we'll never really understand is somewhere is a secret agreement with our government, with some of these aliens, I think. Some of them, they might have broken agreements. Some of them they might be at war with. Think about it. If you're shooting some of these things down, you might have made some of these upset.
All right, we're going to hold it right there. Tom King, we have until the top of the hour. Audience questions continue right after this.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
All right, Tom, we're clear. Big thank you to Aggravated for coming on in. Chameleon, good morning to you, my fellow Commonwealther. Truth Seeker, nice to have you here. And who else has joined us here? Miss anybody? Cluster, how you doing? We're caught up. We are caught up. Don't forget, if you haven't already, give us a thumbs up. It does help with our algorithms on YouTube. We greatly appreciate it. Hillins, Billins, Herbins, how are you tonight? Nice to have you here. Joe, just for you, Oob. If you could give Lubla a little pet for us, maybe a scratch under the chin, we'd appreciate it. Tom, it's always so much fun when you're here, man.
Yeah, it's a good time. Thanks for having me back.
Your hair looks fantastic.
I like washing it. It's a secret.
When I had long hair, I only washed my hair twice a week.
Yeah, that's
Mondays
about what
and
I do.
Fridays. And my hair became more flowy.
Oh, you know, the other secret is concrete dust. Sounds weird. But if you ever pour a lot of concrete and you get dust all over you, and you go like this in your hair, that concrete gives your hair a great body.
I'll take your word for that one.
Yeah. Get a bag of Quickcrete and, just lightly dust your hair a little bit with some Quickcrete, and there you go. Everybody thinks Pantene's the secret. It's not. It's Quickcrete.
I love this comment here from Chameleon. 30 minutes left on my night shift. Chameleon, thank you for allowing us to make it go a little faster for you. Good morning, Skip to my Lou. Two and a half minutes, Tom.
Sorry, the other person bailed, or you bailed on him.
I think I bailed on him.
Seems so.
Let me see if I got that. Here, hold on 1 second here. Where did I get it? I thought it was an email. Maybe I deleted it. No. That's not it. That's not it. Where did it go? It was on text message. No. Where the hell did it go? Oh, it was a voicemail. That's what it was. Hold on. I'd be damned if my voicemail is going to let me. I'm just going over the questions for tonight's podcast interview. You know, I feel like I'm really not the right person to do your show because I don't believe in UFOs. I come from a Christian worldview and biblical worldview, and I don't know if I would be the right person to talk about these issues. I'm happy to be on, but and then so this goes on and on. I don't have time to read it all, but then his PR person calls me up about 6:30 tonight and says, "Yeah, he's just on a flight from London right now. I don't think he'll be able to do your show." I went, "Oh,
Wow.
okay. Coming back in 2 seconds, Tom. Hold on."
I'm in the wrong business.
Second half of Spaced Out Radio is underway. My name is Dave Scott. UFO Talk with researcher Tom King, who lives out of beautiful Arizona. And we're going to get right to more audience questions with you, Tom. Right now, let's get to it. Let's start off with Terry here, who is asking, so no one really believes that the 104th Fighter Squadron were the Phoenix Lights?
I'm sure what that is. There's this guy. He's on the Wikipedia for the Phoenix Lights. He's a clown. I think his name is Jim Nichols or something like that. He claims that the Phoenix Lights were merely a refueling operation of a bunch of A-10s that were flying from Las Vegas down to Tucson, and along the way they dropped some flares. The whole town freaked out. No biggie, right? 10,000 people all wrong, but this clown, it looks like Captain Kangaroo, figured it out. No, that was a bunch of crap. He made that up. I have the FOIA. We FOIA Davis Monthan Air Force Base on March 13th, and we got a response back. I showed it previously. It shows the 5 signatures from the Maryland Air National Guard that were there and dropped the flares. No other planes came and went. So there was no refueling operation that landed there because we got signatures from the tower of everyone that was there that night. So I don't know what these debunkers just make up stuff. And how do you fact check somebody who just made something up out of thin air? You can't.
It gets a little struggle sometimes, doesn't it?
Well, then it becomes it's like with the Fife Symington, I saw it on TV when no one else did. It just becomes part of UFO folklore, and it gets embedded in the legend of the Phoenix Lights. And there's a lot of things that are just factually wrong, and it's just tiring to go around trying to correct some of that stuff if you can. And I don't know if it's my job to actually do that or if I should just let the lies fly. You know, I don't know what exactly to do in this situation here. So I speak up.
All right, let's go to our next question. This one from let's see here. This one from Mel. Tom, do you remember a public access forum called UFO AZ? One of the hosts had an eye patch.
Yes. We talked a bit about that. That was the late Ted Lohman. Ted Lohman had a public access show out of Tucson called AZ Update UFO. No, one of them was called Off the Record. And the other one was AZ Update UFO Updates. And I think I did both those shows. He was a very prolific guy. He was a metallurgist, and he had an accident where some metal blew up and blinded one eye completely. The other eye, he lost most of his vision. But he had like 900 VHS tapes, right? I mean, That was back when most of us would only have 100. Like this guy had like everything. He had like everything there was, and people would send him all this stuff, and he had a really well done public access television show that would be the equivalent of a podcast. So he was kind of like a sort of like a public access podcaster, if you will, back in the 90s. Very, very grateful we had him, and everyone took him for granted. And when he was gone, it's like, man, I really miss that show.
Don't blame you. Don't blame you. Okay, continuing on here. Let's go to Terry. Says, you both, as in you and me, Tom, recently acquired psionics night cameras. Have they been a plus to your research? Says, I know it's been with me.
Terry Hall, absolutely not. Absolutely not. You know that I spend quite a few hours telling people buy psionics, but then still running them under the bus because of the 27p graphics. I just got mine literally yesterday. And I was heading out the door tonight to go test it with like an array of gear to find out how it's going to work and compare it. But I'm here instead. So I have not had the pedal to the metal on that thing yet, but its time will come.
I know for us, it's been a little bit of a game changer out at our Flight 21 crash site when we're looking not only into the sky, but into the trees as well. It has been, especially with the trees, as night starts to come down and we get from dusk into that little bit of darkness right now, it really helps out with us trying to capture more what's in the trees and what could be lurking. So I think that makes it very interesting, and it's been a benefit for sure. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to using it. It's been a long time coming for me to get one of these cameras.
I love this question from T-Bone. In your opinion, Tom, what's with the lights on UFO craft?
Well, good question, T-Bones. As far as I'm going to address the Phoenix Lights craft. I don't know about the other ones, but I have a good bit of confidence on the Boomerang. On the Boomerang, there are typically 5 lights on this Boomerang. Now, I didn't get to see it, but I've talked to a lot of people who did, and I spent years studying this. I'm one of the foremost experts on UFO boomerangs out there. I have a compilation videos of boomerangs. What these lights are individual UFOs themselves. So they're not exactly lights. It's believed that they might be propulsion systems of the craft, but I think of the craft, the Boomerang has its own propulsion system. The lights are deployables. So these lights that you see kind of dock into a position into the Boomerang, and then they undock and they move around. But the lights themselves are not, say, craft per se, like the Boomerang is. That the Boomerang could possibly have, say, beans inside of it and a lot of room. These lights that they saw with the Phoenix Lights were talked about that they were about 5 feet or so across. One witness describes it as swirling magma of like lava that's dripping and moving away. So that flies itself. So think of it as an oversized orb. Instead of a small orb, the size that most people see is like baseball size, these are giant orbs that are docked up into the Boomerang, that undock, move around, and then stay with the ship. So I kind of liken it to the Boomerang's like a yacht, and the little ones are like jet skis to that they don't go too far, but they stay around it. I don't know why, but that's what I believe they are.
All right, continuing on here. Let's go to JSCL. Do you have anything new to tell us about your tests of your radar, etc.? Because you've kind of built your own system here.
I can't publicly comment on the radar. So I can't tell you any tests that I'm doing with that. Next question.
That was a quick answer. Let's go back to Terry. What was the elevation of the Phoenix Lights, Tom, when you were under it?
I was never actually under those lights. Those lights that I seen, that I videotaped, were probably 30 to 40 miles away. And they were believed to be up about 15,000 feet, if you're going with the flare theory. But they did, the altitude of those 10 p.m. lights vary from, like, I think Bruce Maccabee did a triangulation, late Dr. Bruce Maccabee, optical physicist. I think he was saying something between at least 7,000 feet up to about 13,000 feet, which doesn't make any sense of ground illumination flares up where, commercial jets are flying. That's kind of dumb. But that was the altitude. Now, of the boomerang, various different altitudes of that. When it flew into town, people saying they could hit it with a baseball. Multiple people, right? But then you have Luke Air Force Base that said it was at 15,000 feet descending. So that's a big difference. 700 feet versus 15,000. That's not even close at all. So where do you go with that? Who do you believe? Do you believe people that say 15,000, or the people that say they could hit it with a baseball? I learned from investigator is you don't pick a side. You just collect the evidence and you report it. It's not up to me to tell us whether the boomerang was up at 15,000 or if it was at 700. I got multiple eyewitness accounts and a lot of them report both. So how do you make that sandwich? How you put that information together in a cohesive way, because it can't be both. One has to be right, and those two has to be wrong. So that's a question within itself. I'll ask back to the audience, what do you do with that? What do you do with that information?
It's hard to know. It really is hard to know right now. I mean, Tom, you're somebody who is very analytical with your work. You have looked up and down the Phoenix Lights, forward, backward, diagonally, front, back, you name it. You have looked at this. Your overall impression of what this is all about. Was it one craft? Was it multiple craft? Was it Air Force? Was it UFO? Was it a boomerang? Was it not? For those of us who don't have the eyes to be there and listening through your words, in your 100% assessment, what was it?
As far as the Phoenix Lights boomerang craft, that I believe is probably one object, one large object that had the 5 different plasma type large orbs with it. But those could be counted as a separate craft, but they kind of go together as one, because most of the time that's all you see is the 5 lights. And the 5 lights can divide into 7 or 8, 9, 10. They can go, there could be 30 of these lights. They could just split and divide. They can group up into one, right? Earlier in March 13th at 5:30 in the daytime, there was a sighting in a place called Crown King, Arizona. And they saw 3 of these boomerangs in the daytime. And they were hovering above each other, stacked. And then a jet comes in coming up from the south, Luke Air Force Base, intercepting it in the daytime, apparently. And these lights, sandwiched upon each other, became one. The 3 of them shot up. And the jet turned around, went home. So that's why the Air Force may have been actively hunting these boomerangs. We weren't aware of it. So one craft can become 2, can split. It's very, very strange. It doesn't fit within what, we can figure out, because we don't have anything that, space can occupy another space other than lasers, holograms, gaseous matters, things that can, turn into a transferable solid into a liquid. A lot of heavy questions here. It's a good one.
We have Tom till the top of the hour. We got about 10 minutes to go here with Tom King. Tom, let's get to another question here. This one coming from Vincent. Tom, have you ever thought of taking your gear and connecting with Chris Bledsoe for one night to see what you would capture?
Yeah, if you ever, if the opportunity presents itself, I would definitely go to any Skywatch that he hosts, and I would first explain to him how to focus a camera, right? Because he has problems running a camera and trying to get it in focus, and then seeing what comes up. I think I would probably get blocked because that guy, from what I've seen on social media, if you ask any difficult questions at all, you're blocked. He doesn't want to hear it. I would probably get called a demon or something in a short order for because I like to ask questions. But I'd love to Skywatch with him or anybody. Any opportunity is good. I see no reason to turn it down. He has had something happen to him, but I don't believe anybody can summon these on command. You might be able to summon them, but it's not reliable. No one knows how it works. But we're looking into it. We're looking into that.
All right, let's go to T-Bone here. Actually, before we do, I want to just ask you just a second part to this question. Chris Bledsoe is known to summon UFOs. You have tried this yourself. You were skeptical of it, if I recall, but you never ever shot the idea down, saying you never thought it was impossible or just something made up. You have tried this. You've had success. What is your thoughts on summoning now?
Now my process next is, and I've seen it's funny. I've seen some of this on Skinwalker Ranch. My friend is on Skinwalker Ranch as a scientist, and we didn't talk about this. But the next thing is, I think we need to scan the brainwaves of people that do summoning. That when they try to do a summoning, we need to collect everything that's going on in their brain. So we get a baseline of them just doing regular activity, really nothing at all, just relaxing. And then we get a baseline of when they're summoning, and we look at those brainwaves, right? And then if it's successful and an object shows up and we get it recorded and it's unexplainable, then for first time we got the brainwaves of a summoner. And is this repeatable? Do we no longer need that summoner? Can we use those brainwaves and play them back and like as a homemade dog whistle to get that? So if, let's say, Chris Bledsoe could do this, if we could get his brainwaves recorded and figure out how do we play that back so these things can hear the playback, will they come? Will this work? So that's kind of an area that I'm branching off into with summoning, is let's try to figure out why this worked. Let's get some scientific data on it. Let's get some things that we can look at, some graphing, some visual data. Let's see if we can figure out how to play this back. So I think that's where we're moving, and we are moving forward. We are making advancements. This is stuff no one talked about like just years ago, and I'm in the process with others of normalizing this.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Let's go to T-Bone here, who is asking, Tom, what do you think of the work done by Dr. Lynn Katai?
Lynn has kept this sighting alive for quite a long time. I don't exactly know what she does as far as work on this. I do know that this is about the only thing she talks about. And she talks about, UFOs and stuff, but like, I don't know, does she do other cases besides this, or is this a hill she wants to die on with the Phoenix Lights? Because she didn't have a lot to do with it. Her video can't be placed. Like nobody can fit her video in on March 13th because we don't even know if it was shot on March 13th. There's no evidence. She hasn't officially submitted her evidence for anyone to check. Like, I can't look at it. So, because it's copyrighted, she doesn't want anyone to hear the audio of her stuff. But she did do a lot of good by just keeping the fire alive, constantly doing media promotions and whatnot. And one person who interviewed her a lot, he had a real good summation of her. She's done single-handedly, she's kept this alive, but she's also single-handedly kind of did quite a bit of damage to the case too.
A lot of people, when they take on a case like this, they get a little selfish. And I don't mean that in a rude connotation, but they think they're the only ones who can come out and really make this something. Do you think she's at that point where she believes that maybe she's the only one who can get the answers?
Well, she's never going to get any real answers, even forward with this. She came into this after the case wrapped up. So the case was originally handled by Jim Delatesso, Dr. Michael Tanner, myself, Bill Hamilton, and MUFON. And she was nowhere to be seen in any of this stuff. We did all the video analysis. We contacted, or the people contacted Village Labs. That's where the 750 witnesses came from. A lot of them came from Frances Emma Barwood. Frances Emma Barwood did a lot of this work by talking to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. But then Lynn Katai made it sound like she did all this, but she didn't actually talk to 750 people or do any of the video analysis. Would know where to begin with video analysis. She just kind of just sums up the story in a nice cheerleader type of thing and talks about it. But she is not the type of person that goes out to the desert and gets her hands dirty. You know, she was a medical physician, and I don't know about you, but my personal doctor, he doesn't get his hands dirty or do any of this type of stuff. That's a golf course type dude. You know, that's like, you know, trophy doctor type people. They don't go out in the desert. They don't do this type of work. So her work is a lot different than what I do.
Tom King, we have about 2 minutes left with you tonight. What do you see coming up in the next 5 to 6 months in ufology?
Probably some more drops from the government. I think they'll be slowly better. I'm not expecting anything immediately shocking from them, but I do expect more than stuff. We need to get specific. You know, where are specific videos? Like, where's the gun camera footage from the Phoenix Lights, right? Where's all different types of footage that they've collected in the past? Where's the historical stuff from when they were going after fighter jets, filming them, and the gun camera footage went to the Pentagon? Where's the rest of the gimbal footage? Where's the rest of the Go Fast footage? There's numerous good videos, but we need to target them, right? Otherwise, we're just going to go, here's stuff, here's PowerPoint, here's crap. We need to get specific, and then we can hold them to and go, we know you have this. We know you have this. Now give it up. I mean, what are you doing holding it? So that's where I think we're going to go, just slow progress. We'll look back 6 months to a year from now going, yeah, we did make some progress, but it's hard to see when you're swimming in it.
Tom, I want to say a big thank you for coming on Spaced Out Radio, not only on short notice, but you are such an amazing guest. You're so knowledgeable. And the one thing I love about you, Tom, is you take absolutely everything as information, and then you kind of whisk it through your brain and come out with a very non-biased answer to everything. And I think that needs to be commended, because not a lot of researchers are like that anymore.
Oh, thanks, Dave. I'm old school, so that's kind of how I came up. You know, Linda Moulton Howell said something to a friend of mine, late Bill Hamilton. She says, "Don't trust anybody who hasn't been in ufology for 10 years? And Bill's like, why? She's like, because they'll burn you to the ground. And she was, that's some advice from 30 years ago. That's true to this day. Be careful who you deal with in this field that hasn't been around for a while. Because I was telling Terry Hall, the divorce rate in ufology is 90%. Meaning if you meet 10 people, but you won't like 9 of them in a year from now.
Tom King, everybody. Coming up next, we have Swamp Dweller and Grant with the UFO Report.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with your host, Dave Scott.
Hey, Area 55, Wes Decker. Now that you're 55, do we switch you from Area 55 to Freedom 55? Is that what we do now? You have to let me know. Tom, thank you, buddy. Appreciate you.
We'll see you guys next time, probably from the hot tub.
Probably in a couple months. Talk soon, buddy.
All right. I'll be listening. Thanks for having me. Bye.
You too.
Stop now! You're under arrest! Hands up! Don't move!
Don't get caught without your Spaced Out Radio merchandise. We have t-shirts, mugs, hoodies, socks, hats, stickers, and so much more. Whatever you're looking for, we have you covered. Why just be a fan of the paranormal when you can look the part? We don't have ugly merch, folks. Check out the Spaced Out Radio store. Find the link in the description below.
Dirty filth. Dirty filth. Dirty filth.
Object is heading north 045 degrees. It's definitely not a plane. It seems to be tethered to something. Is that a banner, Joe? Caribou Con. Does anyone know what Caribou Con is?
Caribou Con, one of the BC Caribou region's best kept secrets. Until now. Join our panel of renowned paranormal experts for a weekend of fun and intriguing presentations. Go to cariboucon.com to book or inquire now.
Over here. Look at this.
Discover Spaced Out Radio on all your favorite platforms. We're live every single night with the best in UFOs, cryptids, paranormal, and the unexplained. And you can find us on all your favorite platforms. Head over to Instagram for behind the scenes and daily weirdness, TikTok for quick mind-bending clips, Facebook for community discussions, and X for real-time updates and hot takes. Wherever you scroll, Spaced Out Radio is there. So go search Spaced Out Radio on every platform, hit follow, and turn on notifications so you never miss a single episode. The weird is waiting. See you there.
The McNeil House is one of several buildings at the 108-mile heritage site said to be haunted by spirits of a time long forgotten. But would you stay the night? Along with guided ghost tours and paranormal investigations, Haunted 108 is offering a chance to spend the entire night inside the historic McNeil House by booking one of our B&B style sleepovers, where you can experience the hauntings firsthand, meet the resident ghost cat, and witness unusual activity. If you dare to turn history into a night you'll never forget, book your spot now at haunted108.com. Spots are limited. Will you be brave enough?
All right, let's bring in the Grantavius one. There he is. Look how handsome he's looking tonight.
Thanks, brother.
How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
I am good.
Sweet.
Thank you, Maggie, for that awesome Aussie chat. And thank you to Area 55, Tamisha, Area 55 again, T-Bone, and T-Bone gifting 5 memberships. JSCO, thank you for the love as well. We appreciate your great support, guys. It really helps us out on a nightly basis while you're here. And don't forget, I'll tell you later. Here we go. Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. We always appreciate you dropping on by and hanging out for some weird tinfoil woo with us. We have Swamp Dweller and the UFO Report with Grant Baker coming up momentarily. But first, we want to say hello to all of you taking the time to listen to us on all of our terrestrial radio stations. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read the news wire, check out our swag as well. You can follow us on X at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on Patreon in the Space Travelers Club. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Langnyap. Langnyap is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's head to the swamp.
Hello and welcome to Spaced Out Radio's Swamp. I'm Swamp Dweller, and tonight I'm going to take you on a mystic journey of the unknown, sharing tales of monsters, legends, and nightmares. Welcome to the Spaced Out Radio Swamp. Hey Swamp Dweller, hope things are going well for you. I was listening to one of your episodes with scary cryptid encounters, and it reminded me of a story that my friend told me. Her husband is a police officer in South Carolina, and this is an encounter that she had quite a few years ago. I will call him Mark for privacy reasons. One night, Mark was working the night shift and got a call that the security alarm had gone off at an old Methodist church in town. Apparently, this happened before, and it was usually a false alarm because no one was ever there. The police chalked it up to faulty wiring since the church was fairly old, but they still had to go check it out for protocol purposes. So, Mark heads out with another officer thinking this is going to be a routine open and shut case. But boy, was he very wrong. This church has 2 levels, and the top level has rooms for the kids' Sunday school services and such like that. Now, Mark turns off the alarm, and he and the second cop start sweeping the place. They don't find anything downstairs, but when they turn to go upstairs, he immediately got a bad feeling in his gut. The other officer actually refused to go upstairs with him because she felt it too scary, and they were actually freaked out. So she stayed at the bottom of the stairs as a lookout while Mark went upstairs. Mark opened the door to one of the Sunday school rooms, swept it with his flashlight across the room, and that's when it happened. He heard a low growl coming from the corner of the room, but when he turned his light toward the sound, there was absolutely nothing there. This room also had something like those fancy electronic books that can sing when you open them, you know, those fancy ones for really little kids that sing nursery rhymes and stuff. Well, as he was standing there, he heard one of those books start to go off by themselves, and it sang this very creepy little song. Again, nobody was there, and the room looked entirely empty. That was enough for Mark. He headed back downstairs and told the other officer they were leaving right then and there. Thankfully, they made it out without any other incident, and he swore never to go back to that church. I actually don't know if the alarm has gone off since then, but my friend told me that before this incident, he had been at that church during the daytime for whatever reason and got a weird vibe from the place during the day too. So who knows what truly happened to Mark? But I bet you he's never going back to that church, and either am I.
Thank you, Swamp Dweller, for another spooky story. If you want more just like that, we encourage you to go over to his YouTube channel, Swamp Dweller, hit subscribe, ring that bell. Thousands of stories for you to listen to each and every day and night. So go get your creep on right there at Swamp Dweller's channel. Let's bring in the UFO report. Here's Grant Baker.
Staring at the stars tonight. Signals shining in the sky. Grant's got the stories breaking through. What's hidden now comes into view. From distant lights to secret files, mystery threats. Every signal slowly peels. So tune in close, don't miss the facts. UFO Max, we've got your backs. Becomes a song.
Here we go, the Grantavious one. Grant Baker with the UFO report. How you doing, buddy?
Good. How you doing tonight? Thank you for having me.
I am fantastic. I really, really am. And, you know, I don't know whether it's because it's World UFO Day or whether we're close to Roswell or what have you. But I'll tell you, I got to say one thing before we start.
Mm-hmm.
As a Canadian, I know that a lot of our listeners are in the United States. We have the 4th of July coming up Saturday. And I just got to tell you, I love you guys. I do. I know there is tension between Canada and the U.S. and trade wars and NHL Stanley Cup victories happening down there. Okay. And not up here, especially the previous 2 years with Florida beating my Edmonton Oilers and my Oilers doing terrible in the playoffs this year. But I don't think that this show could ever be what it is without our great American listeners, our great American radio stations, all of the people who listen in on podcast land or YouTube or whatever. And it's just a time for me to say a heartfelt thanks to all of our American members of our Spaced Out Radio team. There's, there's only really Dirty Filth and I that are Canadian. The rest of the team, whether it's Grant, Terry, Spookles the cat, and many, many others who are on the team behind the scenes, I think that it is something that is a real bond between all of us here. And I just wanted to say happy 4th of July to you, Grant. Happy 4th of July to all of our American listeners coming up this weekend. I love you. And thank you all for helping me be a little bit of a part of your lives each and every night. And you mean the world to me. You really do.
Yeah, it's awesome being a part of this team. I will tell you that. It's been a good few years, and since you guys opened your arms and your doors to me, and I just got to thank you for having me as a part of your great team. I mean, every single one of us, we all love each other and we all work well together. And for everybody out there that's listening, we wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for you. And so thank you so much for allowing us to have your ear and take up some of your precious time.
I still hate the fact that a Canadian team has never won the Stanley Cup under American Commissioner Gary Bettman.
Oh.
I do hate that. I just want to let you know that.
Oh, man. Well,
it drives me nuts. It drives me nuts.
I'm not actually familiar with the sport, to be honest with you.
Well, it's about time you learn, because I'm a little bit of a hockey nut. You know that.
Oh, yes. Yep. I listen to the story as well, but I have none of my own.
I know. My friend, there was some big UFO news coming out. I want to start with Anna Polina Luna, who did a UFO talk about not only UFOs, but MK Ultra with Glenn Beck earlier on. And whether you love Glenn Beck or not, I could tell you that, we're talking about UFOs here.
Mm-hmm.
And tell us what she said. What were the key points?
She stated this without hesitation. And here's a quote: "Without a doubt, the UFO phenomena are real." And that's a bombshell hit right there. Then there will be an announcement soon. The phenomenon is real. And she stated it twice just to double down on it. And this lands just days after her June revelation that credible whistleblowers possess specific intel on recovered NHI craft, NHI meaning non-human intelligence, locations, and alien biologics. Those are bodies with direct White House engagement, including Stephen Miller, depending on how you want to pronunciate that, underway to grant them immunity from clearance violations and Espionage Act risks so they can finally speak. After Pentagon files, after the Pentagon file tranches stalled videos and stonewalling agencies, the secrecy is collapsing fast. And that is here in 2026. Bodies, biologics, and craft confirmations may be closer than ever. The cover-up is collapsing. NHI disclosure could be days or weeks away. That is a pretty confident Anna Polina Luna there.
I want to believe her, Grant. I want to believe her so bad. And I love the way she talks about this subject.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have faith that it could be that way? No, I do not. And look, I want this just as much as anybody else. I hate it when people say, I want it more than anybody else. I'm not going to say that, because I don't. There are people who want it more than me. There are people who want it less than me. I want it just as bad as anybody else.
Well, you also got to understand, historically speaking, UAP investigations have always hit a brick wall. And it's because not only officials, but contractors alike are bound by strict NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, and the Espionage Act. So if they talk to Congress, they actually risk going to prison and losing their security clearances. So you have a real good setup there for people not wanting to say much.
No, I think you bring up a good point. And the question is, what are the avenues? And what part of the phenomena are they going to release? The phenomena is not one thing. Okay. There's a UFO phenomena, but there's a bunch of different tales and trails that follow that portion of everything. Okay. Is it alien abduction? Is it ET contact? Is it downloads? Is it hybridization programs? Is it any other type of phenomena that we don't know? Okay, from orbs to legit craft to alien beings, we don't know what phenomena she's talking about. It is a very broad word for a very broad subject. I mean, if you want to go down the phenomena road, what about the tie-in between the UFO phenomena, the alien phenomena, the cryptid phenomena, the psychic phenomena, the paranormal phenomena? There are many, many different roads that this takes, Grant.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, maybe she does, maybe I'm being a little naive here, and there's a good possibility I am. But I'm just wondering if she knows or has been briefed on all the different sorts of phenomena that are taking place at the same time. And, you know, I think we're starting to throw around the phenomena word a lot easier, much like we hear other words being thrown around like they're nonchalant. So I'm hoping, I want to see it happen, but there's a good opportunity for us to probably get the wool pulled over our eyes again because of some government sanctioning of national security.
I agree with that completely. I mean, it's time and time again that it's been proven true that that's exactly what they do. I mean, they're constantly coming out, whether it's government officials' stance that, you know, there's no definitive evidence of non-human intelligence or UFO craft, and they're always pulling that. The technology is not there, but then you have these things where, you know, commanders and whistleblowers are coming out saying they have specific, or they've been, I forgot exactly how they, you know, introduced to this stuff, and they've seen these things with their eyes. And not only the sensors that are on, you know, in Commander David Fravors' case, the aircraft he was flying, and these aren't people that are in these, like, he's a commander of, like, he rose to the ranks like that because he has been trusted upon to be able to fulfill his duties. He's not somebody that's going to just take this out and go, hey, and he's not out of his mind or being a loony bin. These people are telling the truth, but then you have everybody else, all these agencies and, you know, the DOD, our government, and they're like, oh no, we don't have anything. It's like, come on, man, what are you guys hiding? I know that they're hiding something, and it's probably much bigger than we think it is. We're just looking at their cars, you know, the cool craft that we're seeing. That's all we're looking at. They have a whole world worth of technology that they're probably trying to dig into, and they just don't want to tell us about it.
On that list that she stated, which one catches your attention the most?
Well, the biologics. Craft confirmation is okay. I got it. I can see that. But the biologics is what catches me the most, especially since not only is it, I think this is actually coming from David Grush. And for anybody that doesn't know, he was a whistleblower not too long back, and he had the bombshell. Like, that was one of the best whistleblowers, I personally think, that has come out so far. And when he said biologics constantly, non-human biologics, that's bodies. We all know what it means. And I'm telling you right now, I don't want to see one of the mantis beings, or maybe a reptilian. I might be okay with that. It just depends on how bad they look. Because I mean, that's the ontological shock for most people, is the tall whites, you know, the Nordic people, whatever, that look like us, but just bigger. I think we can handle that first, and then just kind of introduce the rest slowly, and just kind of, you know, get people to understand that they look nothing like us. Maybe even the alien grays, where we're pretty desensitized to that for years, 4 decades. We've been desensitized for that, especially with Close Encounters of the Third Kind and other movies that come out. And most people believe that they're real. So that in my mind, once I see somebody that's not human and it's just a different race from wherever they come from, then it's done. Like, that's capital D disclosure. Now, all their tech, I'm not highly worried about at the moment. I mean, unless they want to better the lives of the human race or the globe in general, so we stop, you know, hydrocarbons going into the air, and we have 0 point energy where everybody can have a light on in a house, especially third world countries. You know, where it's free. And I'm sorry, big oil, like, it's your day in the sun is done. Like, give it up. But they're never going to do it. It's just like big pharma.
I think you're a little bit correct on that. My big one on her list would be the bodies and biologics as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what are they? Where are they from? Do they have any ID? I mean, as stupid as that may sound, do they carry a wallet with them with a driver's license? We don't know. We don't know. Or do we have them alive? Okay, because there is a big difference between having NHI and having NHI, non-human intelligence. Is it alive or is it dead? Right? What is it? Do we have both? And if we do have both, how long have we been in contact? What species is it? Where are they from? Are they future us? Are they the past us? Are they from a different dimension? Have they flown here from space? I mean, these are the questions that I have. That if you open up that can of worms with the bodies and the biologics, we need to know.
That's a very, very good statement, because once you know that they're real, then millions of questions come after that. And everybody's going to want to know those questions. Where are you from? You know, can you have kids? What's your life like? You know, how many races are there? Are you part of a galactic group? Can you guys actually, you know, think telepathically to each other? Just thousands and thousands of questions come out of that. There's more questions than answers, especially dealing with something like this. The craft, cool. You know, we're going to figure it out, or they might give it to us. Do they have dead ones? Probably. Do we have live ones? I think the live ones, maybe. I've seen a couple videos where people were claiming things are alive. You know, I don't know. I kind of take those with a grain of salt. Do I believe that there are live, living color aliens walking among us? Probably. I'm kind of leaning towards that side of the fence.
Especially in Las Vegas, apparently.
Yeah.
Before they blew up the Sahara. Tore it down. Right? We only got about 3.5 minutes. Grant Baker is our guest on the UFO Report. He joins us twice a week, taking in this subject, giving us the updates of everything happening in the UFO world. There was one statement, though, that I really, really did not agree with, and that was after the Pentagon filed tranches, stalled videos, and stonewalling agencies, the secrecy is collapsing fast. And sure, it may be collapsing fast, but if we're using the videos from the tranches to say this is a big step towards disclosure, well, disclosure of what? Because so far, I think every experiencer and an eyewitness to something very close to them would say, you haven't shown us a UFO at all. You've shown us man-made objects. Your thoughts, Grant?
I believe that is correct as well. We're basically playing connect the dots, because that's all we're seeing is dots. Whether they're moving ballistically fast, it doesn't matter. These things are most likely, in my mind as well, man-made. They're not giving us the good stuff. They're not giving us the stuff that we want. They're just giving us the grainy videos that they can show us, hide the sensor data. And I guarantee you the videos that we're seeing are not anywhere near the type of sensors that we have today. These are things that they're just giving us like low-hanging fruit. Like, that's all it is. And it's not even stuff that we want. It's the pits on the ground.
Do you think then that, how do I ask this question without sounding like a jerk? Do you think Anna Polina and her conspiracy club know that the videos are a farce?
I believe they know that the ones that are coming out in the tranches are a farce, but I also believe that they know that there's other high definition, very high quality videos out there that maybe some of them have seen. And that's the reason why they're pushing so hard.
It's actually a very good answer. Very good answer. I didn't expect that from you. I'm teasing. No, but you are right. You are right that this is probably something they know there's better out there. They keep talking about the fact that there is better out there. I mean, like I said on last night's show, they keep talking about steak and lobster dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And when we finally get in the vehicle to drive to dinner and how great that steak and lobster is going to be, we end up at the McDonald's drive-thru. And we're only getting a gross fillet of fish.
Is that fish?
I don't know. I've never eaten one.
Yeah.
Not a fish guy. Not a fish guy. But you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I mean, choose your you can't slam the Big Mac. I like the Big Mac, but choose your burger at McDonald's. Maybe the old McDLT. How about that? Do you remember the old McBLT or
Oh, yeah.
McDLT?
You remember the McRib? Ooh.
Well, that still comes out every now and again.
Yeah.
Remember the hot side hot, the cold side cold on the McDLT? Right? Grant Baker, the UFO report, continues on Spaced Out Radio right after this. And when we get back, more UFO talk with Grant.
This is Spaced Out Radio. Your host, Dave Scott.
I'm going to tell you there is a huge difference in a Canadian Big Mac versus an American Big Mac.
I bet yours is better.
I'm going to brag about that and say, yeah, it is.
Oh, I guarantee it is.
Yeah.
I watched a reel the other day about McDonald's, and it was one of those like 20-second reels. And the lady is like, think about how many burgers that just McDonald's sells in one day. And it's millions of burgers, millions of patties. And she's like, how many cows are there on the planet? Like, where are they getting all this meat? And they do that every single day. And that's just one of the big companies that are doing this. And the guy just sat there and thought, that's weird. I've never thought about that. And then it just goes into this little conspiracy dive. But I was like, I don't eat McDonald's. My wife every morning wants her little round egg.
McDonald's.
Yeah,
I do. I think McDonald's is just the best, from the French fries to when the ice cream cone machine is working, when the milkshakes are actually working. Blackthorn, how you doing? To the Big Macs, McChickens. Okay. Hell, even the McPizza was good. The only thing I never liked at McDonald's was the apple pies. Didn't like that.
Yeah.
But everything else is good. Quarter pounder with cheese. But you see, in Canada, not to brag, not saying this to brag, but it's going to sound like it. In Canada, there is a law that all beef served in restaurants has to be grade A beef.
Oh, man. Well, I mean, McDonald's in other countries. I've watched that hour-long special on McDonald's in other countries, and every single one of them have better food than we do here in the United States. But the United States, our health department is lackadaisical. They let anything in our food. I swear they're trying to kill us down here.
Dr. Bob, how you doing? What does Paramarv say? If you're going to make that trip, go to Canada too. The food is better. I'm near Detroit, Michigan. By the way, everybody, want you all to be like Paramarv. Paramarv got his tickets for CaribouCon.
Yes.
He's traveling from Michigan to go to CaribouCon, September 18th through 20th. If Paramarv can do it, you can too. That includes you, T-Bone. You're in New Westminster. You're only 5.5 hour drive away. Bring the missus.
Thanks, T-Bone.
Be like Paramarv. Be like Paramarv. Everybody, damn it, just be like Paramarv.
CaribouCon. Hey, we do have to mention what today is, though. This day in history. So,
World UFO Day.
Well, yeah. We'll say something about it real quick here in a minute.
Oh, God, Blackthorn. Yeah, I wouldn't expect you to come from the UK, buddy.
Yeah, that'd be a long
Good morning, my fellow Commonwealther. Miriam Oz, welcome to SOR Chat. Thank you for the compliment. That's really nice of you to say. Thank you. Except for Grant. Don't give Grant any credit, Don. I'm teasing. A lot of people don't get my sarcasm at times. I don't even get it half the time.
I've known you long enough. I get it.
Grant, have I ever been insultive to you?
No.
No.
Not once.
How many times have we laughed?
I've laughed more times with you than probably anybody in my whole life. And on top of that, like belly hurting laughs. Like we just sit there and die laughing and then forget why we were laughing and laugh at that again.
You got that right. Jeff Steve Garvey is here. He'll hit a home run for you. Just choose your fence. Thank you tonight to T-Bone ×2, plus gifting 5 memberships. Thank you to Area 55 ×2. Or is it Freedom 55? I think it's Area 55. He's secretive. Pam, JSCO, Tamisha, and Maggie, thank you for your love and support. It really does help what we do on a nightly basis here. So thank you very, very much. And we're coming back in 10 seconds. We're going straight to Grant here. Hey, Grant. Here we go with the final half hour of Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. The UFO report continuing with the Grantavius Maximus 1, Grant Baker. Thank you for being here, Grant. And Eric Burleson was on a podcast recently talking about a lot of political stuff regarding UFOs, including what does the president know? Has he been briefed and everything? Take us through that.
So the congressman also says senior U.S. intelligence officials report regular UFO incursions at nuclear bases across the United States. In one recent case, glowing plasma orbs chased a helicopter and scrambled multiple F-16 fighter jets. Eric Burleson shares details from a special force veteran who described an encounter with non-human technology while he was stationed in the Middle East. There's a great video of that as well. A hovering matte black sphere, and it was said to be really dark. It was roughly 3 meters wide and radiated a feeling he described as complete evil, quote unquote, making him physically ill just being near it. Congressman Burleson also reveals that he turned the naval base, Pax River, Maryland, where he toured the base, where a UFO craft transfer between Lockheed Martin and a private aerospace company allegedly took place. While there, Burleson investigated anti-gravity and exotic propulsion with Navy scientist Salvatore Pais, whose patents on high-frequency gravitational waves attracted widespread attention in 2018 for their profound implications and possible connections to UFO reverse engineering. Finally, Eric Burleson reveals he participated in a flyover of a classified Lockheed Martin facility in the Nevada desert, accompanied by UFO whistleblower Jake Barber. Burleson is a 3-term congressman from Missouri, a software engineer by background, and one of the most methodical UAP investigators in Washington, who got into this after watching David Grush come forward, even though his campaign advisor told him it would kill his political career, which is known to do that. He is now at the forefront of it. Congressman Burleson is now leading an informal UAP advisory group, which includes David Grush and others trying to reform the legacy program. He provides the name of it here for the first time, the Lone Gunman. And I'm telling you what, this Eric Burleson, this dude looks at everything through a technical lens. I mean, he's being a formal software engineer. I mean, he tends to approach data and legal requests like super methodically. And I mean, just because David Grush came out, what was that, 2023? And David Grush had come out.
Yes.
And he's a former intelligence officer who alleged the U.S. has a secret UFO crash retrieval program. So I mean, there might be a giggle factor here, which, when you sit there and listen to, they say it's career killing or it's career suicide, they call it, for politicians. And it's basically a giggle factor. I've seen that written all over the place, but he ignored it. And it's a big risk, but hey, more power to him for doing it.
I think in that interview as well, he went on to say that the president has been debriefed potentially. He was asked whether or not the president had been debriefed on hybridization programs. He kind of dodged that question regarding this, but says the president had been briefed as well on this. But when you talk about the Lockheed Martin base in Nevada, well, we all know where that is. We all know where that is. That's Area 51.
Yeah,
that's Area 51.
So
let's just cut through the chase right there, and let's say he went to Nevada looking for aliens. He went to Area 51.
He did, and really the hybrid claim. I mean, there was the assertion that President Trump was briefed, and it was on quote unquote alien hybrids living among humans, which is what we were just talking about a little bit before this. And the context is while Trump has stated he's been briefed on UFO generally, the specific claim about hybrids is a very extreme fringe theory with the UFO community is what they say in there. And it's like, okay, but I believe that that's what's going on. I believe that we have aliens among us, and they're being very subtle, and they've probably been among us for a very long time. The nuclear base incursion that they had talked about as well, there was a senior officials reporting that UAPs regularly hover over nuclear sites. The specific case mentioned was plasma orbs chasing a helicopter and scrambling F-16s, mirrors several recently discussed military encounters currently being analyzed by the House Oversight Committee as well. And then there was also a Boogosphere mention, or being like the black complete evil sphere, not Boogosphere, but this refers to a specific, wide discussed account from a special forces veteran, often tied to the Boogosphere in Colombia. There was a describing of the matte black sphere that didn't just hover silently, but emitted a frequency that caused acute, like, physiological and psychological distress. And that's telling. You have many accounts where people have felt these orbs, these objects, whatever you want to call them, where it was either electrical sensation, a burning sensation, psychological situations where they panic, or in certain cases don't, and they felt like they're being controlled, and it happens a lot, I guess. And then when he went over to the I can't even say this word. It's the Patuxent River, Pax River, I guess it's called. Thank you, Patuxent River. Naval Air Station in Maryland is a massive naval research base, and they alleged that physical craft or materials were moved out of the government's custody and handed over to private aerospace like Lockheed Martin. And that's because of the FOIA, or Freedom of Information Act requests, and also congressional oversight. And when it comes straight down to it, I like listening to this guy, Eric Burleson's. He did well on the interview that he was just on. In fact, I got it half played upstairs right now. And but realistically, we can hear this, just like we've been stating before, all day long. Unless the United States government sends out, Donald Trump and says, hey, tell them about it, or any other government for that matter. I don't know who's going to win that race. Comes out and says, hey, check it out. We do have this. We have the craft. We have the non-human biologics. Whether they're going to tell us they're alive or not, I don't know. Whether they're going to show us the craft up front and personal, roll one out on a cart, show people, be like, hey, this is what it is. We can't figure out how to get into it yet, or this is how it flies. Check it out. And all of a sudden it zooms off the cart and goes into space. I don't know.
Here's one thing that I do want to say, though, about this great comment from Burleson.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm just going to repeat it here. He says that one of the most methodical UAP investigations in Washington, who got into this after watching David Grush, came forward. And that wasn't the one. Hold on. Where did this jumped on me? I apologize. It was the one with the evil craft, right? Now, why did I just lose that? I just had it here. Where did that go?
The hovering map.
Yeah, where he's talking about the matte black one and how it was evil.
Yep.
Okay. Here's a couple of things I want to say about that. Number one, if you can find that for me, Grant, while I'm talking about this, then we can discuss it a little bit further, because it'll bring more clarity to what I'm saying. But here's one of the things that I want to say about that. Not all aliens coming here, if you talk to experiencers, the real experiencers, okay, or the majority of experiencers, I shouldn't say the real experiencers, that's kind of rude. But the majority of experiencers will tell you that they've had the good, they've had the bad, they've had the ugly. Because once your signal goes out to the universe that you've been taken, anything can happen. You're not just going to get the rosy, hello, how are you? Welcome. Your soul is safe with us. And by the way, here's a download telling you how to make grandma's pickles, even though she's been deceased for 28 years. That's not how it works. Okay. You're going to get the good, you're going to get the bad, and you're going to get sometimes the ugly. And you hope that you don't want the ugly. When I say ugly, I'm talking the operations, the needles to the eyes, the anal probes, the weird stuff that we think is very science fiction. It happens. And then the buzzing sound or the saw blade sound or whatever it may be. Those of us who have had it, it's not a fun experience. It really is not. And it should be taken seriously. But not all ETs are good. That's what I'm trying to say to Burleson's comment. So the fact that he brought that up, I thought was great, but he didn't bring up the others.
No.
Okay. Which coincides, in my opinion, with the government narrative that this is all bad. This is a threat narrative that, we've heard people from David Grush to Ryan Graves to many others. We can't fly. We got to be careful flying in the sky now. America's skies are not safe. Now we hear Tim Gallaudet, the former Rear Admiral in the U.S. Navy, saying the oceans are not safe due to UFOs or UAP. And now we're hearing, aliens are bad guys. Were you able to pull that piece up?
Yeah, he said a hovering matte black sphere. It was roughly 3 meters wide and radiated a feeling he described as complete evil, making him physically ill just being near it.
See, and I believe that. I believe that.
There's another one, and this takes us back a little bit to a different subject, but maybe the same. Buzz Aldrin, one of our former astronauts, had done a tweet back when it was Twitter, and he'd gone down to Antarctica, and of course nobody's allowed down there, and blah 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 blah. It doesn't matter. But the tweet was he had to be flown out of there quickly because of whatever happened to him, and he said it's complete evil down there. It's whatever they're working on is complete evil. Now, did he see one of these matte black hovering orbs down there, and it was radiating whatever this frequency is that triggers the brain into thinking, there's a foreboding feeling there where whatever he's seeing is complete evil? This has been said before, and that's Buzz Aldrin.
Yeah, absolutely. And all of that needs to be taken into account, right? Not all of this is good. It's not all peace, love, and light, man.
No,
it isn't. You can hope for the best, but no matter what, you can't prepare for the best or the worst when it comes to this phenomena. That is for sure. So good on him. I like Eric Burleson too. I think he is, you have the blustery fire of Tim Burchett on this subject, and he's kind of the yin to Tim Burchett's yang. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And I think it works. I think it works, and good for him for, going against the grain of what his PR advisor had told him to do, stay away from this subject. And he said, screw that. It's about the American public. It's not about aliens. It's about the American public learning about what's going on. And I like him for it, and he needs to be commended for it.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree with you.
What else you got, Grant?
Well, real quick, I just want to take a side note and let everybody know that today is July 2nd, obviously. As we're recording this, Roswell UFO Day is officially observed globally on this day, coinciding with the anniversary of the infamous 1947 crash in Roswell, New Mexico. And this day encourages skywalking. What are we? Return of the Jedi. Skywatching discussions and extraterrestrial life and government transparency regarding unidentified aerial phenomenon UFOs. So everybody, happy UFO Day.
Absolutely. UFO Day, which was yesterday. We appreciate that.
Oh, yeah.
I think you're a day behind.
I am. I'm a little behind. So my next big subject is Avi Loeb. This is a fun one.
Well, hold on. I didn't get to wish anybody a happy UFO Day, man. Look at you. Look at you trying to hog it all. Hey, I'm Grant Baker. I'm going to wish everybody a happy UFO Day, but Dave Scott can't because I'm Grant Baker. I love it. Oh, my goodness. Yes, happy UFO Day, everybody. And remember, you're not a weirdo anymore if you've seen something you cannot explain in the sky. And there is only one sky. There are not multiple skies out there. The Earth has one giant sky. Go ahead, Grant.
No, right. Or if it's coming through your window at night, just,
True.
Set out some tea for him. Yeah. So Avi Loeb has now been appointed to lead White House UFO Advisory Council. So on July 1st of this year, 2026, the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, or the ODNI, officially announced that Harvard's cosmologist and astronomer, Dr. Avi Loeb, has been tapped to head a brand new scientific advisory team. This team will report directly to the newly formed UAP Governance Board, which held its inaugural meeting just last month in response to the President's February declassification directive. The mandate and the team, so Loeb's task is to lead a specialized cohort of outside scientists, tech figures, and activists to analyze the national security risk of UAP and decipher the origins of the mysterious orbs that they're frequently tracking by the military. So Loeb is handpicking a team of over a dozen figures. Strikingly, the lineup already includes retired Rear Admiral Timothy Gallaudet, who has been vocal about his belief in non-human intelligence and alleged crash retrievals, and tech billionaire Ben Lamb. So Loeb publicly stated on Wednesday that the team is intentionally starting with a baseline assumption that these objects are human-made to address immediate national security and aerospace safety. However, he specifically noted, and I'm going to read it, the fact that they open up to the scientific community implies that there is a chance that perhaps one or more of these objects might not be human-made, in which case it would be the biggest discovery made by humanity, unquote. That's big. And this is exploding all over X and other research circles if you want to go check it out. But the UAP community is divided over the news, causing a massive surge of debate on social media over the last 24 hours. And so we have our optimists and we have our critics. So I will go first with the good. The optimists see this as a massive win for civilian science, finally bypassing the Pentagon's classification bottlenecks by putting raw unclassified sensor data from the Pursued tranches directly into the hands of an academic council. The critics, on the other hand, including mainstream astrophysicists, are already pushing back hard, criticizing Loeb's history of exotic claims like his light sail theory for Oumuamua and his Pacific Ocean spheral expedition, and expressed concerns that his involvement might sensationalize what should be a rigid national security investigation. So this effectively institutionalizes the civilian science push we saw brewing at the Senate Disclosure Forum last week, giving outside academics a direct formalized pipeline into the ODNI's UAP oversight structure. Now, what I take away from this is it is Avi Loeb. I did watch the Spheral expedition that he had done with the big magnets and stuff, trying to get those things off the seafloor. But I want to be optimistic about it, except for the fact they're giving them just what's in the tranches at the moment. And we already believe that those were man-made. So, I mean, realistically, what are they going to find? They're not giving us anything. They're not probably going to give them anything at the moment to say, hey, look, what is this? But only time will tell.
I like Avi Loeb.
Oh, I do too.
And the reason why I like him is because of what one of his critics said. Read what his critics said again about Oumuamua.
So he had a theory, it was what they called, and this is their quote, exotic claims, like his light sail theory for Oumuamua and his Pacific Ocean Spheral expedition.
Here's the thing with Avi Loeb. He has taken a lot of heat over Oumuamua, and then again with the meteor, that comet that came by, 3i Atlas. Okay. He was not saying that it was a UFO. He has never said that. There's not a single quote of him saying that it was a UFO or a UAP. He said the characteristics were definitely not of something we had seen before, and therefore we cannot rule out the fact that this might be some sort of alien satellite or craft that is visiting our solar system. And he took huge heat over that. Huge. Now, I don't agree with everything Avi Loeb does. I think sometimes he plays the naive card very well. But on this case, I like the fact that he's involved. I think he probably should have chosen his team a little bit better. There's a few people on that team that I would be like, I would be choosing Richard Dolan or somebody else over this person or that person, but I'm nitpicky that way. Okay, I am. But that being said, I think he gets a raw deal sometimes because of who he is and who he's associated with along with his claims. But Grant, it is that time where we got to start to wrap this up, my friend.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been a great night, and enjoy the show, everybody.
Absolutely. Grant Baker, everybody. He joins us twice a week for the UFO Report on Spaced Out Radio. As we say hello to Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal, rocking in the background with Little Brother is watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAP, Facebook, Spreaker, LinkedIn, the Space Travelers Club, and on X, hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and Bigfoot Broadcasting Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends,
we're watching.
We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Like I got room for Grant. Good night, everybody. Grant Baker,
Yes, sir.
you're the shit, dude. You're awesome.
I love you, man. Thank you so much.
Man, you are awesome.
It's only because of you.
Oh, not even close, dude.
Man, what's this? Crack is made out of Suzuki's. My first bike was a Suzuki. 1995 GSXR 750. I've owned 3 of those bad boys.
Close that up. In a couple minutes' time, I will be getting a phone call from New York to join Mr. Walter M. Sterling on Sterling Every Damn Night. Actually, it's Other Side of Midnight. Yeah. Sterling Every Damn Night was this other show. It was. Still good. What is this? The 79th anniversary of Roswell, eh? That's where we're at, 79 years?
Yeah. Man.
Little Granty Baker. Little Granty Baker. Little Granty Baker. Hey, guys, if you haven't already, I would love it if you go over to youtube.com/SOR Secrets of the Forest. youtube.com. I'm going to put it in the chat room. youtube.com/SOR Secrets of the Forest. If you go there, there's the link. You might have to copy and paste that. We're up to 30. We're up to 30 on the new channel. That's a giant push for us. 30. I've already got season 1 playlist posted. Oh, nice sneeze. Gesundheit, Grant.
Thank you.
And we got the first season posted. We're going to start editing season number 2 here very, very soon. I think you guys are going to like it. It's a little bit different look, but nonetheless, it's a beautiful look. It's a handsome look. Those guys on there are nothing short of handsome.
Like us.
Yeah. Absolutely.
There we go. Go. There we go. All right.
You need a tissue, Grant? Are you okay?
Oh, yeah. No, I just, when I have too much of the Zins, I start sneezing. I just had to get into the WABC real quick.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Let's go. Excuse me. Like that. Like that. That works. All right. So they will be calling me shortly. Thank you to T-Bone ×2 for the super chats. Thank you to Area 55 ×2. T-Bone again for the giftings of the memberships. Tamisha, JSCO, Pam, and Maggie. Love you guys. There is New York calling in, and I got to go say hello because I love their accents. See you tomorrow, everybody. R. Keith Andrews and the ET Connection tomorrow night.
Stay healthy, my friend.
You too.
If you need bail money, give me a call.
Always, Dad. Take care.
You too.